Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. It is Thursday night, February 5th. This is STARJUMP Shipyard. Welcome to the show. See everyone coming in chat. Nice to see you all. A lot of familiar faces. Already got 57 over on Twitch and 78 over on YouTube, and we've barely gotten started. That is all thanks to you wonderful, wonderful people. Yes, great to see you all. A lot to discuss tonight. As you know, the last 2 days have been a lot of a lot of CIG news. I almost said a lot of space game news. It's been a lot of CIG news. I can't talk tonight. All right, I quit. Art, take the show over. I cannot speak tonight.
This is without a margarita, mind you.
I do not have a margarita on me right now. This is shameful. CIG news. Okay, we've had the PU monthly report. We've had the talk with Benoit today, so we're going to go through all of that good stuff. Rhino Not said, did someone say nudes? No, we didn't say nudes. Starlet is not on here tonight. For some reason, I feel like she would bring that up. We love our Starlet. No, we got a lot to talk about tonight, though. Art's going to be writing co-pilot with me here. I may be switching scenes here a bit. I know, real quick, though, we're going to do a disclaimer real quick. I got to do a disclaimer, okay? I've had some messages that some people are, that there were some people not exactly happy that my thumbnails would say we're talking about one subject when actually the show had a lot of subjects in it. And then the thumbnail topic would be something we talked about midway through the show. Just so everyone knows, for the thumbnails, I usually put the topic or thing that I'm most excited to talk to you all about, but we are always going to talk about other stuff. It is a general discussion show centered around spaceships and Star Citizen. So it's always going to vary. Just please know that going into this, we're going to tangent, we're going to do all kinds of stuff, okay? So that being said, let's go ahead and get those annoying top of the line announcements out of the way. We'll go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes type stuff for the show, but we got to get our sponsors out of the way. They're awesome people. We do want to support them. And I am making pre-recorded promos for those so that they can be a little bit more concise at the beginning and end of the show. But for now, we're going to do it manually. We're going to do it live. Let me switch on over. As you all know, we have 3 sponsors currently, and I want to point your attention to all 3 of them because they all 3 make great products. First one, of course, iconcity.com. Go to iconcity.com, use the code STARJUMP. You can get icons for your stream decks, for streaming, for MFD simulator type games like Flight Simulator and Star Citizen, all that kind of good stuff. They make a great product. Make sure you go there and support them. James is a really cool guy. Use the code STARJUMP again to get 10% off your order. I do appreciate it. Helps you out, helps me out. Next, Pigeon Spaceport. Want to do a big shout out. Still waiting on the model to come in so we can do a full-on review of this, but we definitely will, and we'll probably do a big giveaway for the model. But they make these really cool ABS injection molded RSI Scorpius. They are an official licensed product. Okay, so they are officially partnered with CIG. So you don't have to worry about this being shady or anything like that. They are the real deal. If you've been to a Citizen Con in the last couple of years and seen like the big Port Olisar or the big Retribution model they have there, these are the same people. Really great folks. I am looking forward to reviewing the model. So make sure you go over to pigeonspaceport.com. Use the code STARJUMP. Be cool. Use the code STARJUMP. Get a discount there on your order. Last but not least, our last sponsor here, Beam Eye Tracker. You can also go to the Beam Eye Tracker site. Do I have that? Do I have that link? I think I have it. Yes, right here. You can go to the link that I'm posting down in chat right now. You can go to Beam Eye Tracker, buy the software with the STARJUMP code, and get 10% off your order. I have been testing it. I am making a review video of it. The good, the bad, the ugly, all that good stuff. I do feel like I'm in a good position to review the product because I am a long-time user of other head tracking solutions. I played Arma 3 for over a decade. I never played without head tracking, so it is something I'm very accustomed to, and I feel like I can give a good, honest review of the product. If it's your first time getting into head tracking at all, it's a great place to start because there is a low cost to entry here versus the other solutions that are out there. So it's a great way to test to see if you even like that sort of interface when playing your favorite games, okay? So yes, Icon City, Pigeon Spaceport, and Beam Eye Tracker. I want to give all of them a big shout out. Thank you very much. Next, let's get to the good stuff. I told you all it was happening. I was not a liar. Tonight starts the first of many giveaways leading up and in celebration of Invictus Launch Week and Defense Con, which come in May. I'm giving away a Drake Ironclad, folks. The biggest, baddest ship coming at Invictus, probably, unless they drop the Javelin. You all know about the Ironclad. You know it's one of my most looked forward to ships. This is your chance to get in on that. Giving away one with and I'll probably throw in like a concierge paint or whatever. Here's the cool thing. This is not the only big ship I'm giving away at CitizenCon. Or sorry, at Invictus Launch Week. This is not the only one. Some of you, now the giveaway does end on the 31st of May, and some of you in chat may be saying, oh my God, you're running a giveaway for like 100 days? Isn't that a bit long? Isn't that a bit excessive? Well, the reason I am doing that is because I want to incentivize all of you, specifically all of you in chat right now, both on YouTube and Twitch. Whenever I do giveaways, especially for big events, they get a lot of attention. A lot of people come into, these streams or watch the VODs, get in on the giveaway, but they never really watched before that. You all show up all the time, hang out consistently, support what I'm doing, and I wanted a way to reward you all. So, as I told you all about a month or so ago, every time you come in and watch the stream for at least 30 minutes, you will get an extra entry to the Ironclad. Okay, the people that just enter, go to the Gleam link or scan the QR code, they have their 5 or 6 ways to enter there, and that's it. You all, though, will get extra tickets on top of that, greatly increasing your chances, okay? Because I want to be able to incentivize the regular watchers of the show and give you a much bigger chance, okay? And that's every 30 minutes you watch. So if you watch for the 2 hours, you get 4 extra tickets in one stream. And then that's for every single stream leading up to Invictus, okay? You don't have to do anything. You just have to be in stream. I have a third-party app that's recording who all is in chat. You don't have to chat. It just takes a snapshot of who is all watching at that time. Okay. Yes, Calaman, I can track it on YouTube. Sometimes I have found that if the usernames don't match, I have to enter them manually. But it's okay because you still are getting the entry. Okay. So that's how we're going to do it. The Gleam link is pinned to the top of both chat channels. Okay. Gleam link is pinned to the top of both chat channels. And you can scan the QR code if you want. Okay, we're going to be running this. There's going to be another big ship I give away during Invictus. Once we hit Invictus, we're going to start the next big giveaway, which will be for an RSI Galaxy for the end of the year. Okay, so there's a lot to look forward to this year if you're into giveaways, okay? And that's on top of all the ships we'll be giving away just normally. Obviously, CIG supplies us with ships every patch. We just gave away the RSI Hermes. I forget the winner's name. Is it I forget his name. I don't want to dox him if I'm saying the wrong name because he had 2 usernames, but we did give away the Hermes. We had a winner on our last episode. I did award him that ship. He was very appreciative. I think he even posted a picture of himself with it. I think I could be wrong on that, but very appreciative. So big shout out to CIG for those. Now, the Ironclad is not through CIG. That is a grim giveaway. Okay, and we are going to talk about the Ironclad a bit tonight. So it's a good night. It's a good night to start this. Before we jump off the Ironclad, are you excited for the Ironclad? Do you realize just how important of a ship this is?
I honestly think that the Ironclad is going to be one of the most definitive ships this year to kind of reorganize the verse in a way.
Yeah.
When it comes to moving equipment, when it comes to, I mean, we could argue a pocket carrier.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of people putting like Nova tanks in Idrises to like shoot out and like hit ships. Imagine rolling the top of this off and having ballistas in there and, Nova tanks to be able to just the abilities of this piece of equipment alone, I think, is going to restructure how we do a lot of things in Star Citizen.
Especially with its upped SCU carry capacity now to like 2208 or something like that.
It's going to be super popular.
Yeah, first off, it fits right in that middle ground between ships like the C2 and ships like the Hull C, because we have a big gulf there. I think the Hull C carries 4,600 and something. It sits right in the middle of that. And for a lot of people, doing a fully laden Hull C has tons of issues and stuff to deal with. So it is nice that this is coming in at that nice little middle ground. So very excited about this ship. We have Ironclad updates tonight to talk about. Okay, so we're going to go through all that. Now, real quick, for those of you wondering what we're talking about tonight, what is on the table to discuss? By the way, thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for the follows. I do appreciate it. Advabro, thank you for the follow. Kudlati, thank you for subscribing. Verthamax, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that. Whiskey Games, thank you for subscribing. We have a couple subscribers tonight. Corvus, we're going to talk about the Corvus here a little bit later. Thank you for subscribing. Phoenix, Kudlati with the follows. Stegosaurus with the follow. Here's what we're talking about tonight, everyone.
Well, real quick.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the bot's not down, or the bot's not up.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Bot is not working tonight, but we'll try to grab your questions. Make sure you put them in bracket. We'll try to grab them. If we miss them, sorry about that. Ask again later. But we will try to grab them all, and we will get to the questions, okay? Here's how the show is going to work tonight. We already talked about the sponsors. We've now talked about the Drake Ironclad giveaway. We're next going to talk about the February sub-promotions. We're then going to talk about the PU monthly report and, of course, the ships mentioned therein. As you know, those are what we generally focus on when talking about the monthly report. We will then talk about Star Citizen Live with Benoit and all the information he gave out. We're then going to do Q&A where we will grab and answer all your questions. And then we're going to talk about the state of Star Citizen. Not very long, just a little 10-minute segment. Something I want to say after watching some other content this week. And then we might briefly talk about the Battlecruiser again, just with a little bit of news that came out, although we might fit that in when we're talking about the Benoit discussion. Okay. It's time to get in it. Let's go ahead and get in it. First things first, the February sub promotions just started. Let me swing over to that. I got this fun little arrangement of items here. You can get these end tables and the heart-shaped lights, which do have a light effect to them, which is kind of cool, is what the sub promotion for February is. There is a pink heart lamp, which is pretty cool. I think that is the one you get if you're just a standard Centurion level subscriber. That's the one I got because I'm a Centurion subscriber. And then of course the end table, which is what you get if you're the Imperator level subscriber. You know, the end table, funny enough, it actually is a really clever design if you look at it just from a furniture design standpoint, but I won't belabor that too much. And then of course there is the collection here that they mention. Obviously, if you're a subscriber, you get the Peak Heart Lamp for free or the Carmilla nightstand for free. But you can obviously get all these through the subscriber store. Okay, we just hit a hype train level 2.
Yeah, Thorn just gifted 5 subs to us.
Thorn 1234000 sounds like my locker combination in high school. Thank you very much for those gifted subs. We are on a hype train, everybody. I'm going to give you the double salute for that, Thorn. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Appreciate that support. Can't thank you enough. We have such an awesome community here. We really, really do. We really, really do. Thank you very much, Thorn. I salute you. You are a legend. Thank you. Here we go. You can get that. And then obviously they have some vehicles of the month currently going on right now with the Starlancer Max, the Starlancer Mac. It's the Starlancer Big Mac and the Starlancer TAC are both the ships of the month.
Does that come with Max sauce? Or
Yes, it comes with a Star Lancer Big Mac. It is a new McDonald's Happy Meal that is coming out. So yes, anyway, those are the 2 ships of the month. Pretty cool ships of the month. I do know a lot of people that do, still really enjoy the Star Lancer TAC. The funny thing is the Max is the ship that I thought would be sort of like the one that you hear about and talk about the most and stuff. But honestly, the TAC is the one that that most people talk to me about now and are actually still really excited for. So I guess the TAC has developed a little bit of a cult following. Okay. So anyways, there are your February sub promotions. Get those if you're interested. Next. Yeah.
You got Execute said you never messaged him back. Uh-oh. You're in trouble.
I didn't?
Apparently.
I didn't get a notification. I blame Discord.
It's my fault.
Oh, I see your message now. Yeah, you should watch it, Execute. You should watch it. It's good. It's good. All right. To continue down these top of line notes here, let me switch over to my other monitor. Okay, there we go. Obviously, PU Monthly Report came out. Many of you know that I sometimes go in depth on this. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just talk about the ship stuff. We're going to focus mostly on the ship stuff tonight. Obviously, I can't remember. I looked through this. There was some interesting little revelations kind of peppered throughout here. Again, a lot of it is just sort of a lot of the tech stuff that they've been talking about. Again, it is nice to see and exciting to see that stuff. I think there was one thing down in online technology here, though, where they do sort of mention and talk about, let's see here. Let me make sure I'm reading it correctly. Is this the one where they mentioned it? Maybe not. Or is it? Okay, maybe I didn't read it here. It was another update I was looking at. Maybe I didn't read it here. Either way, we're primarily going to focus on the ships tonight. I'm going to go over the news with the ships first, show a graph, and then we'll circle back and discuss them a little bit at length. But just to get through the updates on the ship side of things. Let's go ahead and dive into that. So the UK-based ship team began the year progressing with 5 unannounced ships. The first had its final reviews, with the downstream teams adding their final touches ahead of its release. The team also updated some of the chassis and geometry it shares with another vehicle to bring it up to a higher standard. I'm almost assured that is the salvage ship, the Mole variant salvage ship, because I'm sure they went back to the Mole and brought it up to standard as well, because there's a couple issues with the Mole. So I think that's the ship being discussed there. Okay. Next, it says following the completion of Hammerhead Gold Standard tasks, some of the team began laying the groundwork for the second new vehicle, while the third passed its white box gate review with fine colors. One thing I'll add on this is I love that CIG gives us the update on all this, but it gets so weird and confusing when they're like, another ship entered this ship, and it's a variant of another new ship that's an old ship. That it's like, well, if you can't tell us anything, just maybe you shouldn't tell us anything. But it is interesting to hear about the Hammerhead Gold Standard tasks being complete. It does make me wonder when we'll see that ship land in a patch cycle. Maybe it'll come 4.7, right? When 4.6, obviously. Oh, our hype chain complete at level 3. Thank you very much, everyone. Do appreciate that. But with 4.6, obviously, we got, oops, sorry. Here we go. With 4.6, we got the gold standards of the Aurora and, of course, a new ship in the Hermes. And maybe with the Hammerhead, we're getting the gold standard in 4.7 along with whatever the Mole salvage variant ship is. It seems like it would make sense. Moving along. Again, I'm just going to go through the list and then we're going to circle back and talk about the ships a little bit more in depth. So stand by. The fourth upcoming ship had its white box gate review in January, which flagged some issues with its main gameplay feature not behaving as expected. Upon investigation, the team identified and resolved the issue, allowing the ship to pass its review. Kind of interesting, mentioning a gameplay feature that almost makes me wonder if it's a gameplay feature we haven't seen yet, since they had to kind of figure some stuff out about it. So maybe it's a gameplay feature we don't have in game yet. It could be crafting. Maybe it's crafting. The UK team's final unannounced vehicle approached its white box review, with the devs reviewing the scope of work and the available time frame to make the process smoother for all teams. Again, not a lot of information there. Elsewhere, the Gatak Raylan passed through the white box phase towards its gate review in February. So the Raylan will go into gate review in February. There's another ship they mentioned here that will hit the same place. In like mid-February. Okay, we'll get to that in just a second. Grey Cat UTV to continue development. Its planned mocap session was delayed until February due to external factors. It will still make its gate review early in the month. Now remember, with some of these ships, you have to have new animations created for them, especially if they have unique entry points and stuff. One of the things I think that's beneficial from variants is they don't have to go back and do new animation cycles for like get in, get out animations and all that stuff. It just borrows from the existing ship. But with new stuff, they do have to do that, which again, I don't think it's technically a downstream team, you still have to tap other teams outside of the ship team, right? Miss Cole B passed its gray box review with no issues, is now well into Lot Zero phase, with the artist currently adding additional details throughout. Okay, now again, we're going to come back to these pictures. Don't worry. It says here, Drake's Ironclad and Ironclad Assault and Command Module continued development, making heavy use of the brand's modular kit. This helps the team make sweeping updates through the ships, leading to much faster progress than prior ships. Great to hear, and great to hear especially with how that will affect the Kraken. Okay, and I do believe we have two images here of the Ironclad. Again, we'll circle back to those and look at those in detail in a minute. North American team continued to work on an as yet unannounced ship which progressed through the white box phase. Last month saw its variants blocked out to ensure there are no surprises when they go into development at a later date. The team also adjusted some of the interior spaces to add more windows between rooms based on feedback. So again, that makes it sound like it's a slightly bigger ship, so that's kind of interesting, exciting to hear that. Don't really know, well, that's an unannounced ship, so I guess we don't know. But if it's big enough to have interior windows and multiple interior windows at that, then at the very least, probably a large ship, medium large to large. And then finally, the best news out of the entire PU monthly report, let's be honest. The Drake Kraken continued through white box with the first of its gate reviews set for mid-February, which is a major milestone for the team and the ship. Further work from the concept team was scheduled to help the production team refine some of the areas that have evolved since the original concept or that weren't as well refined during the original concept phase. And again, we're gonna discuss the Kraken here, but you know, a lot of these big ships, that's one of the things we've heard before. We heard it in regards to the Polaris, we heard it in regards to the Pioneer, where it's such a big ship, there's so much that's undefined about it that they do have to bring in the concept teams once again when the ship goes into active development in order to get some of those rooms and stuff sort of fleshed out and filled out a bit. Okay, we got that. Now we're going to dig into the ships here. Let me pull up some stuff though. It's good, by the way. It was a good ship update. Okay, it was a good ship.
I sent you a DM.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll get that in 1 second. I'm going to bring up a couple images here. All right, bringing up the ship pipeline graphic I made so we can better discuss things. Let me just highlight something here. Stand by, everybody. Thanks for the patience. Just organizing some images. Okay. There we go. All right, here we go. Yeah, you can bring Execute in. We're talking about ships. It's a good time to bring in some other folks to talk about it. And those of you in chat, if you have opinions on some of the ship progress, voice it in chat. Good to hear. But here you go is a little graph showing where ships currently are, the journey that they have made so far. Some of these ships we haven't received updates for in quite a while. Ships like the Pioneer, which last we heard was kind of stumbling a little bit through white box. But again, we'll talk about all these. But the two biggest ships I want to talk about right now, or I guess you could technically call it three, would be the Ironclad, Ironclad Assault, and the Kraken. But let's start with the Ironclad. Execute, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How are you? And Art, how you doing?
Good.
Oh,
I took my power.
Yeah, you've got it. We're having a whole philosophical conversation in your chat, by the way.
Here's the thing: I have 3 monitors, and even that's not enough to see everything. I have like windows on top of windows, and I have all notifications turned off.
Me and Art should vent a little bit here, because like if you've ever got Grim's attention, it's literally got to spam him like at least 5 to 6 messages to get answers within 24 hours. If you just send one message, it'll be 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah,
it takes a while to get back.
That's the way it works for me.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't want to be an emergency, like, oh, my leg's been cut off, I need to go to the hospital. I'd bleed out.
This is why I'm not. Like a paramedic or something. It'd be bad. It'd be real bad. So X, obviously pretty juicy PU monthly report. Got our first images of the production model of the Kraken. We got some really cool interior images of the Ironclad. I'd like to start there. I kind of want to pull up. Well, real quick, let's hold on this image here showing ship progress. It's
real quick.
Yeah.
Can we adjust Execute's volume? They said it's really loud.
Execute is loud. That's interesting. He's do an audio check for me, X.
Wasn't I too low last time?
You were, but it's okay. I have you jacked.
Yeah, okay.
All right. How about now? Do a test now.
Maybe just change it back to what it was.
There we go. I think I got you set now.
I can't do anything right, mate. Can I? I come on one
you blew
time.
everyone out. Kudlati
sorry,
hit me with a posture check and Thorn with a hydrate. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I do appreciate that. I am rocking both now, hydrating and sitting up straight for once. Okay. Burger says Execute is good now. Okay. So let's look at this chart real quick here. I said this on my previous stream. I'm sure this is something top of mind for you and Algrid, but we're in a little bit of like uncharted water, I feel like, with the ship teams, where it's very clear some ships are progressing faster than they ever have before, with the caveat to that being, and we've seen this in the past with sneak peek images they've shown, with the caveat being that ships are looking better visually earlier on in their production than they ever have as well, which can kind of fool you sometimes into thinking a ship is like coming very soon, but it's still a little ways out, you know? And I think a lot of that's to do with the kits and stuff like that. But look at this, at this chart, we have a lot of ships kind of sitting around that white box, gray box review gate stage. And they're ships of different sizes. I mean, everything from the Kraken to the UTV. But are we still thinking 18-month windows for ships now? I mean, obviously that's not true for all anymore.
I think it really is the baseline, but when you add other factors in, so we've obviously got more people on the ship team. We've got people on the ship team maturing now, as in, you know, we're getting up to the 2-year mark of them being around. We're getting these massive kits now that have these massive extended libraries of stuff. So you know as well as I do from your art background that there are multiple factors at play here. It's not just like we can't just point at one thing. It is a sum of its parts. But by the same token, if we put out a brand new manufacturer, so let's just what's something in the room? So they made Sony ships.
Yeah.
Sorry, a pair of Sony headphones. Right. So if they started making Sony ships, they would have to redo all that art style, and then the people would have to learn that new art style. And I reckon at the very least that would probably be even longer than 18 months with the pre-production and stuff like that. So it really depends on what they're working on. I think you guys would agree with me on that, or am I?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's weird too, because with the kits now, when CIG says, oh, something's going through white box or gray box, I used to have this idea of where it was kind of at and what that, if they stayed on production and didn't put a pin in it for any reason, there was sort of an idea of when you may see that ship, at least down to a 6-month window. And now I feel like all bets are off. People ask me, like, when do you think this ship's going to come out? And I'm like, I have no clue.
Well, Let me give you an example then. There's one on the monthly report we can talk about too. So if you're doing an existing one that's got a really developed kit, so let's say RSI is way more developed,
sure.
Drake's just behind that and Miska's probably between those two, right? So if you did one of those ships, they'll generally, especially if you did a smaller Drake ship, right? Because they've done smaller Drake ships before, it would be quicker. But if you did something they'd never done before, so let's look at the monthly report. We've got the Raelians in development and they did the Sulian.
Yeah.
Now, if you did the medium ship,
hey Ryan, how you doing?
If you did the medium ship between the Sulian and the Raelian, that would be quicker than if you did a ship above the Raelian.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. And we've seen when one of those kits gets built out to a big degree, and I think we would all agree that RSI is clearly in that boat. CIG's been consistently churning on RSI ships now for 2 or 3 years. What that does is that reaches a point where a ship like the Galaxy can come along and be in production for a month or two and be targeted to come out 9 months later or whatever. And so you're sort of seeing the culmination of, onboarding artists with ships like Apollos and Hermes and Meteors and all that, and robust kits, and what that's led to, which is exciting because, as you guys cover over there on the Inforunners consistently, there's a lot of big ass ships that still need to be made that are on the backlog, and so there's still a lot.
You do it here too, man.
Yeah, do it here.
Don't give me full credit for that. You do it just as much. Yeah. Hell, you and I have done it together.
That's true. That's true. Let's go ahead real quick, though. I want to pull up the first image. I want to pull up the first image. And this image is very. We're pretty. I think we know what this is. This is the inside of the Ironclad.
Okay. Well, I'll go a step further. Where do you think it is inside the Ironclad? Now you've got the 3D model.
Yeah.
Show me your fancy moves, sir. I want to see where you think it is.
I'll be honest with you. This one, I really don't know. I do know it's on. I do think it's on the sort of middle level. So it's, the gantry outside walkway that was in like the big cargo area. It's on that level, interior of the ship. Obviously, there's a ladder there that leads up. That ladder could be leading up to sort of the command bridge area, or could be leading to the top of the ship. It's important to realize, too, for those of you that have never fully inspected the Ironclad model, it definitely has one entry on the top, or one door, and possibly two, but definitely one door. It's clear, even in the hollow model, you can see where the door is at. So we know there's going to be roof access.
Yeah, and it is hard to tell because there's some changes that are not in the other models. So, for example, he's right. It's clearly on the a lower floor because you're going up the ladder, right? That's,
and it says deck 2 here, so we know we're probably in the middle somewhere there.
Yeah, right. And you can probably make out some other things on the signs that would point to where it is as well. But the other thing is how there's the raised edge there that seems to have a foot access area to the right of it, which is very interesting because I can't remember seeing anything like that in the model.
Yeah,
so it shows that there's probably a newly designed area, it's a designed area, but it's changed a little bit.
Well, our good friend Tristpone, many of you know Tristpone, he put out a video, actually multiple videos where she tours around the Ironclad, did a fantastic job with it. And again, I tip my hat sometimes to the amount of work he puts in that stuff. One thing we do know about the Ironclad, though, is it's very, very likely there's been significant internal changes. And the reason we know that is because consistently over the last 12 months minimum, we've had PU monthly reports talk about how CIG was continuing to evolve the interior flow of the Ironclad to make it play better, which, again, I was glad to hear. But one thing that's exciting to me about this image in particular is this is really our first ever glimpse of a Drake interior with this much open space. The biggest
True.
Drake interior we've had up
100%.
to this point is Caterpillar. And the Caterpillar is a very claustrophobic, confined ship.
Well,
You
there's
know what
two
I mean?
parts to that too. It's a much older ship as well. So because
Exactly.
I was thinking Corsair would be the closest to this actually. When you think of
Yeah, I'd agree.
it's not as much as interior space, but it's definitely a newer aesthetic.
Yeah.
But I'd still give you. I'd agree when you talk about physical space. Yes, it's been Caterpillar, but style wise, it's the Corsair.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. I was saying the exact same thing yesterday. It's the thing that's probably taken the longest to develop in this is literally corridors, because we've had rooms before, but we haven't really had corridors.
Exactly.
But I had people pulling stuff out that they'd seen on, cutters, vultures, and almost every other single Drake ship is lined up into this ship. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and here's what I will say too, just for everyone in chat. I know everyone in chat knows I'm a massive Drake fan. I will go ahead and say that I do love the look of this interior. I also love that CIG, and they've done this with the Clipper and with the cutters. With the Corsair was sort of in the middle there, but I'm starting to see it more and more in Drake ships where they're kind of going away from like the junky, rusty vibe. And with like exposed cords hanging all over the place. They still have a little bit of that, but I do like the direction this is headed, where it still feels in raw, it feels industrial, it feels exposed, but it still feels like it was engineered and put together to some degree.
Well, to counteract what you just said, go look at that image of the Kraken. That looks rusty as hell.
It does on the exterior.
So you got to remember, these things are based on time as well, right? We've got the Aurora, I think, and that's going to really be highlighted this year with the Aurora that we've just had the rework for, and the Mark II.
Yeah.
Right. We've seen it before in Anvil, where they have a 600-year lifespan, and essentially have the Hurricane that's a heavy fighter, and we have the F8 as a heavy fighter. They seem completely different to each other. Not just in gameplay. I'm talking purely looks and aesthetics here, right? And I think it'll be like. Go ahead. I was going to say Drake is 100 years old, so obviously it's a narrower gap.
Right.
But you still want to have a little bit of difference.
Yeah. And North says it there in chat, and I think that's a great thing. Less duct tape, more welding. And I think that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? I do feel like the Ironclad, if the Ironclad and other ships before it, but especially the Ironclad, I think is where CIG is really sort of filling out the Drake kit. I'm really excited for the future of Drake, because I can tell here they're doing stuff that personally I haven't seen in a Drake ship before. For example, one of the obvious things here is signage. Okay, we had all that signage in the Perseus. They just did it with the Polaris. We're seeing our first example of Drake signage, which is really cool.
They're learning, which is really good. So I'm going to take something that kind of Bops really highlighted to me, and I'm going to use it to explain something else here. But he kind of explained how fighters basically drift between each other. So you have medium fighters and, say, heavy fighters, and there's actually ships that walk the line between the two. And then you'll have ships that go from heavy fighters that almost walk up into the Paladin and the gunships, So you've got the Guardian that comes down and almost acts like a medium fighter, but you've got the Stinger that's right on that borderline that goes into the gunship.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with manufacturers, right? So I think, although there are some Drake ships that borderline that duct tape, I think you'll see that they now start to butt up the duct tape stuff, starts to butt up a lot more with Gray's Market.
Yeah.
And then on the other end, there'll be, if you go right to the other side where you start to get the industrial ships, there'll be another industrial manufacturer that Drake will butt right up against. And so it's not just, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like they're 100%. Not just in a bucket and they're this thing. They're a very wide, broad company that covers a gamut, and they kind of cross over each other. And when you what's that? When you do a Wi-Fi range extenders, I know there's a lot of nerds here, so you'll understand this. And they've actually got to be concentric circles inside each other.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. They're manufacturers that are in concentric circles that are inside each other. I think that covers it. Yeah.
And Drake is a manufacturer that, for those that are new to Star Citizen and not familiar with the lore, and I'm not super familiar, I know a little bit about the lore, but the thing about Drake is a manufacturer that has, I think, in lore and just in game or in from Cloud Imperium Games, has sort of been changing a little bit. And from a lore perspective, they kind of did that with the changing of CEOs. The former CEO, I think, went under indictment or something. They have a new CEO now who's pledged to take the manufacturer in a different direction. And obviously, CIG doesn't want to make any drastic changes that turns people off from what is loved here. But personally, I do like the direction they're taking Drake now. I've always said Drake to me felt more like the blue collar ship manufacturer. They're trying to make good quality stuff. Like I never liked the whole, Drake's made out of tissue paper thing. To me, I think of Drake as tough, but raw.
No frills is what we call it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So basically they're just trying to do a bit of everything, but like low budget for low quality, but it gets the job done.
Yeah.
No frills, no extra, that's, the exposed wires and all that type of thing. But I think Gray's market is really going to take the duct tape type.
Yeah,
stuff.
I'd agree with that. And it's a better,
solution. Crying out loud for a toilet.
Yeah,
a bucket for a toilet. That's everything you need to know.
I think they were trying to even lean into that a little bit. And again, it's not like you lose all of that. Like if I zoom in on this image, you can see back here, there's still a couple things hanging, and that's fine. You to have a little bit of that. That gives the ship, the manufacturer, a little bit of personality. But at the same time, there's not, pool of vomit over here and exposed electrical cables all throughout the corridors. We don't need that with Drake.
You don't go into the medical facility area and there's just needles all over the floor like a Gray's Market ship.
Right. Yeah. A good middle ground is just a red floor. We don't need the needles and the exposed and the feces in the corner and all that. So, I don't know if any ship
Can you imagine the sample containers on a Gray's Market ship?
Yeah. Oh man, we need a Gray's medical ship. I could already see Chet now.
That'd be funny as.
But again, I don't know if any ship team members will end up watching this stream or lurking, but based off what I'm seeing here, I am more excited for the Ironclad than I was. I really love what I'm seeing here. It excites me. Now, one thing I will say in terms of where I think we are at in the ship, there is one area internal of the Ironclad, and I don't have that visual up right now, where there's a window that looks into the cargo bay. I do think that's what this window is up here. If you look, there's a window up here. I think that may be that window looking out towards the cargo bay, and this side over here is looking back towards the ship, like the rear of the ship. Not enough to tell there, but that's what I'm thinking.
Is that ladder a new art asset? I just want to ask you, because I don't remember Drake ladders being one solid block like that. I remember them being bars. In fact, in the Clipper, even in the Clipper, they're individual bars. So
I've never seen it before. I think it's a new asset.
Yeah. That's what I was asking, because I'd never seen it either.
And it's the same thing with, and a couple things here, for any of you who have really followed the Kraken a lot, some of its concept artwork, and I know we're looking at the Ironclad here, but keep the Kraken in mind here for a second. When it comes to these big ships that have wide interior walkways, there's the main center walkway, and then CIG usually does these like bleed over areas here. Again, you got to think there's got to be enough room for people to cross by each other, whether it's you and another player, you and an NPC, whatever. And so it's interesting to see the floor panels here. We haven't actually seen that in any other Drake ship yet, because there hasn't been a Drake ship big enough to support it. We're also seeing these wall struts here, which are definitely going to be in the Kraken, because in concept art, the Kraken literally has support wall supports they look exactly like this. So if you're one of those people that's like, man, I really want to see what the entire inside of the Kraken looks like, it's going to look like this. What you're seeing here in the Ironclad, this is what this is going to look like.
Yeah, they're essentially building both at the same time. Like, it's they're just essentially dialing up the art asset production and start building this, and then just roll it straight over from this into the Kraken. Like it's just. Yeah, it's just easier. Two birds, one stone analogy.
I'll say this too, and I don't want to pull too much from what we're looking at here in this image, but one issue I do have with Drake ships, one critique I do have is there's actually two issues here, but they kind of bleed into each other. One is CIG keeps Drake ships just like 10% darker inside than I want them to be. And the other issue is CIG doesn't use enough high contrast materials, which when you combine with that kind of low light level, sometimes you can get a little hard to see where you're going. I will say that I like what I'm seeing here. I do think some of these texture colors are still a little samey. I would love a little bit higher contrast accent color throughout here. They're doing that a little bit with these handles and stuff here. But where I'm going with this diatribe is that I love how lit up this is inside. Now, I think they're going to darken it up a bit, but I want to be able to see inside my ship. So I hope CIG on these bigger Drake ships doesn't go too dark and moody. Keep it bright. It's okay to see what's inside your ship.
So one of the things that I've been thinking for a little bit, I agree with all your points, by the way, but something I would have liked to have seen that I thought was cheaper and more on the Drake size is, you have those high-vis vests that you can wear, like the yellow ones, and they have like white stripes on them, and they're reflective
tape.
Yeah. Imagine if around different areas on the ship, if they had just little white stripes that were reflective.
Yeah.
And
it's
a very cheap way to just highlight things, and it allows it to be darker and moody like they want it to be, but it's another way to highlight things. So when you're walking around with your torch on or something like that, and it's just another thing that would differentiate Drake from everything else. I don't know. It's just an idea I had.
No, I like that. I mean, for example, these areas down here on the floor where you see the call shape, having that be a little bit more reflective in nature, like you're saying, would be cool. I do like that CIG is sort of implementing some lighting here. It obviously doesn't look like they're finished, but they're implementing some lighting here along the floor walkways and stuff like that. Again, that's just one place where I hope CIG, now that they have a larger space to work with, because remember, a lot of the newer Drake ships have been kind of small. We're talking Clipper, cutters, and I guess you could talk Corsair, although Corsair's been out for a while now. Still smaller interiors and not a lot of space to work with, but with these bigger Drake ships, I'm hoping for some furtherance of what CIG can do with sort of the lighting scenarios inside Drake ships.
Well, the suit locker room on the Paladin had somewhat similar walkways, if you think about it. You know how it had the pipes there with the red lighting under lighting? So this is just essentially Drake's version of that. Like, again, they're learning things on all fronts. It's not just one area or the other. They're continually look how the ships have progressed in the entire lifetime of the game. Like these are not people that are rocket scientists. They're artists and creative types, and it's taken them that long to learn. And they've only had they only had 8 people for a really short time. Can you imagine what it's like now having close to 50 people on that team, and then essentially all the fresh blood that would come in? You know as well as I do, just one new person in the office, totally, like, everyone kind of like leeches off them, and you all get all these little ideas, and you give them ideas,
and it can change the energy. I mean, injecting some new. There's two things. As someone who, so for those that don't know in chat, my job title is a creative director, so I oversee art teams and all that stuff. So one of the, and this is a strategy I use a lot. If I have a team of people working on more of a long-term project, and let's say they're just getting a little bit, they're still doing the work, they're doing a fine job, they're making the pieces fit, but it just doesn't seem like they're pushing it and doing anything really exciting. They're just kind of doing same old, same old. Sometimes bringing 1 or 2 people onto that team, it has 2 effects. One, they can bring ideas that energize the rest of the people and get them excited again. But another interesting thing happens, and you do have to be careful with this because it can be toxic as well. But one thing bringing in new artists does is it challenges the other artists, because those new artists sometimes will do something cool, and the existing artists go, I need to pick it up a little bit, So it's for creative directors and art directors. I know Ben Curtis, being an art director at CIG, I'm sure this is something he's employed before, but it can be an art director tactic to push your team, bringing in new people.
The same thing with you and me and any other content creator. We all feed each other off in the same way. Art, I was going to say, Art, did you say creative director? There's a joke there, Art, but I didn't see you take the opportunity.
Listen, that's
my brain went places.
He may be a friend, but he's also kind of my boss. So I try to,
You don't have the luxuries I do. I can make fun of him all day long.
Right. You're on the other side of the world. I'm an hour away.
I'm safe.
I say a couple things out of line. He's going to show up at my doorstep, and I'm going to be like, so we're finally going out to lunch.
Need to be a minimum safe difference.
Right.
Here's what I'll say going back to this too, is that, we all know that CIG.
He's just not even touching that. He's just walking on.
You see how smoothly I transition that? But one of the things we know CIG's done, we've talked about it recently. I think I even talked about it on a recent show with you, Execute, and we talk about it all the time, is that CIG, ever since, in my opinion, the Polaris work was done, I have noticed an uptick in the quality of their ships, especially on the exteriors, but interiors and exteriors. We've seen the same thing in the Paladin stuff, where it does feel like just in general, the ships like went up a notch or two in quality level. And, you know, I just had a big shout out to the Enemy Contact org who was helping me through the Levski event that's going on right now. But we've had some conversations over there with some of their people, and we've been talking a lot about the Javelin, the Idris lately. And, you know, again, when we're looking at ships like the Perseus, soon to be the Ironclad, soon to be the Kraken, and we'll look at the Kraken images here shortly. It's all about the fidelity of these ships going up, and that's going to apply to some of those older ships too. That's why when you're looking at some of these images here from Squadron 42, again, I've brought this up multiple times, and you look at the new Javelin exteriors, the new Idris exteriors, there's a reason they were changed, and it was because they had to get these hero ships up to par with some of these newer ships coming out. And when you take all that skill that's been built up since the Polaris onward with ships, it really does make me excited to see what the Ironclad exterior is going to look like, the production exterior, not the concept exterior, because CIG has always been good at Drake exteriors. Like, it's actually one of their, I think it's one of the better manufacturers they're able to do. Now I would say RSI up there as well, but it's one of the better ones they're able to do. So I think for all of you Ironclad fans out there, this peek here into the interior, I mean, the signs are pointing really good that the Ironclad's going to be a showstopper from just a pure visual standpoint, right?
Well, you're talking about the old. This is a very old conversation of concave versus convex, right?
Yeah.
And we all know that working inside something is harder than working on outside of something. So that's why interiors will always look better than interiors. It's just that simple. There's a reason why they break the interiors up too, because it's just easier to build it modularly. Yeah.
And also for those that don't realize, when ships are in concept, they're generally the art director and either an internal team or artists will sort of work on the concept with like Ben Curtis and other people, stakeholders at CIG. Sometimes it is an external artist, a contractor, a freelancer. Okay. That is the situation with the Ironclad. The Ironclad was designed by Gavin Rothery along with CIG personnel. I don't want to leave them out. Obviously, Ben Curtis and John Crew have a big hand in some of this, and those early concept phases, of course. But Gavin Rothery, I think, was like the lead designer on the ship. I don't think that was a mistake. Gavin was also the designer of the Kraken, many other ships too. But I think they knew beforehand that they wanted to translate some of the Kraken stuff into this ship because this was going to be the ship that got them to the Kraken, right? I'm going to go to this next image here. Next, me and you had a discussion about this image earlier or the other day.
I've changed my thoughts on it. You're right.
Okay. Well, but you're not the only one that I heard, hey, is this something else? And here's my thinking on this. I don't know if you disagree with me, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. But so when I saw this, I just immediately went, oh, wow, it's the Ironclad command module. And the reason I thought that was primarily, I mean, obviously this sort of looks like the command module canopy, but more importantly, this piece over here, which is the connector, the docking collar for the command module, which we don't see over here. And it's on the right side and everything. And then I started thinking, I was like, man, that engine is interesting because we haven't seen that. That looks like a clipper thing. But then I got to talking to a lot of people just randomly about stuff. And you know what's so funny is whenever anyone talks about the clipper, they all say the same thing. Man, I love the engine in that. And it got me thinking, I was like, oh, you know what? CIG probably just heard that. They know that's a popular part of the clipper. And they said, we're going to put that in any place we can find on the Ironclad, possibly the Kraken, maybe in the Ironclad and Kraken engineering rooms, we'll see upscaled versions of these. I don't know. But I do agree that the exposed engine on the interior of the clipper is badass. Is that where you're sitting now with this?
So where I'm at is, yes, the engine is very cool, but where I'm at is, if you think back to when they sold the concept of the Ironclad, the command module was already bigger than the one on the Caterpillar.
It was,
right?
yeah.
And at the time, we kind of justified that because it had a bigger crew count. Where I actually think I'm at now is this is the command module essentially being either essentially reworked or made modular. I don't know how else to explain that, but basically it's very empty. It's got nothing on the top, right? So essentially it is a separate ship from the Caterpillar and it is a separate ship from the Ironclad. So even though you remake the command module to work both for the Ironclad and the Caterpillar, can't you then just reattach it to the Caterpillar and at a later date you come back and rework the body of the Caterpillar? Yeah, you can.
You could, yeah.
So
yeah.
Because right now that engine would not fit in a standard Caterpillar command module. It just wouldn't, because that thing is so packed full of things.
Yeah, and
so
and for people that don't know the difference between the two, the Ironclad command module was, I can't remember if it was bigger overall. It was definitely longer, and it's significantly longer. And the reason is the reasoning for that is that the command module, remember, has to have jump seats in it for the ship's crew. The Ironclad just has a bigger crew, so it needed more jump seats, thus a bigger command module. But there is a couple interesting things about what we're looking at here. And what you just said, Execute, was definitely the first thing that popped out to me. I looked at it and I said, oh, it looks empty inside. What's going on? Part of the reason for that might be that I think this is an early render. I think this is probably from a couple, maybe it was a month ago, maybe it was 2 months ago, I don't know. And if not, then it's still heavily in development, or this area is still being worked on. And the reason is there's definitely some texture issues with this. One of the easiest places to point that out is right here. You can see these lines aren't exactly lined up. They look a little messy, and they're not even over on the other side. So you can tell some sort of temp textures are being thrown on this, probably to generate this image. It probably has not had its like full UV wrap done. So what does that translate to? It might mean this is still heavily being worked on, both interior and exterior.
We should talk about that later, because that was pretty great. The Paladin, remember the Paladin images I sent you last week? Earlier in the week?
Yeah.
That was shocking. So long story short, the way I think about that is, think about how the Cutter came out and it's got 3 variants, but on the inside, it's similar layout, but it changes in certain places. That's kind of where I think this is going with the command module. So can I make it so it's got customized things per ship? So for example, I need extra seats in the Ironclad version, but I need to be able to control the ship from the Ironclad, but I don't need all the life support stuff, because it really becomes more of an escape module, where on the Caterpillar, that thing is almost a freelance without the cargo bays. It's insane. It's like, for a ship of its size, it has more features than anything else in the entire game. You know, it can fully serve 4 people. It's got 4 beds. It's got food. It's got a shower, toilet. It just doesn't have any cargo, and then it's crazy. It's got 4 seats up top, so they can all sit up top as well. So it's one of the most fully featured little things in the entire game. It's crazy how powerful it is. And a jump drive, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
No, sorry. No, wait. No, it doesn't have a jump drive. No, it doesn't have a jump drive. That's right.
Oh, it doesn't?
I'll have to double check. I'm pretty sure. I think it can jump within the system, but so it's got a quantum drive, but it doesn't have a jump drive. So it can't go through wormholes, but it can jump around the system.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Real quick, everyone, I was looking for an image. I may not be able to find it. Yeah, I can't find it. Sorry.
What one are you looking for?
I was
one
looking
with the command module flying off.
No, I was looking for. Let me. It's an interior image of the Ironclad. It may be on the actual sales page. Let me look there real quick.
If you go to the Drake Ironclad wiki, they have all the photos on that. Yeah, but it will be on that one too.
Yeah. So what I was going to do was illustrate one thing, but I was hoping for a certain angle, and I don't know if they have that. No, they don't. But either way. Another interesting thing about the PU monthly report in regards to this, and I'm sure this has caught your eye as well, is I do think it's interesting how they almost keep deliberately separating the command module in these discussions. They say the Drake Ironclad, the Ironclad Assault, and the command module. You know what I mean? Very much treating it like it's its own ship. And that has really led me to think one of two things. One,
okay. I think you're on the same page here, but go ahead.
Okay. One, either the Kraken might have the ability for a command module to dock on it. Just to dock, but I don't think that's likely. But the bigger thing is it does really lead me to believe that the Caterpillar and the Ironclad are not the only Drake ship we're going to get at some point.
Yeah, we are.
The command
He's
module.
got the same. He got there. I'm gonna give him a clap. He got there. Good
there
job.
we go.
Yeah, he got there. He got there. That was it. He was too much crashing. Except he should have led with the first one.
I got to talk about my girl, the Kraken. We've been dating for a long time. I've got to bring her up first. Then move on to the more realistic scenario. But no, seriously.
She's the only lady that his wife lets him cheat on him. So yeah.
Exactly. So I guess I would pose that. And I pose this to you as well, Art. What other type of Drake ship would you like to see that uses command module? And not only uses command module, but the command module could take off from the Ironclad and then go dock with the other ship and fly it, which would be really cool. That'd be such a unique Drake feature. But what other type of ship would you like to see with that sort of tech on it?
I would like to see, I think I'd have to go with maybe a drop ship, like an actual personnel style drop ship, something very streamlined.
Yeah. What do we have? Does Drake have a drop? Well, I guess we have the steel. But that's not really technically
I want to just bring some things up here, and I'm not saying that these will go for it or against it. I just want to make it clear. The Ironclad's a cargo ship, as is technically right near the Caterpillar. But yes, the Caterpillar is meant to have modules at a later date. So that also is evidence for and against what I was about to say. But basically, it looks like the pattern at the moment is cargo ships. So I wonder if that means that it's a cargo exclusive feature.
I've given this some thought too, and there's one ship I would love to personally see Drake make that's not currently in the cards. We actually don't have a ship that does this at all yet, but I would really like to see Drake make a repair ship that sits in between the Aegis Vulcan and the Anvil Crucible, like one that sits in between that, thinking that the Crucible will grow and be your capital level repair ship. I would love to see Drake target that large ship category, so maybe 60 meters ish. Maybe it has like a small Scarab that's able to repair like cutters and stuff like that.
Funnily enough, like how close is that Ironclad to the Scarab of a Crucible?
Pretty close. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty close.
Eurito, hello to you in Bogota. I hope things are well down there.
Honestly,
what would be if it was an Ironclad variant, and what would you call it? The Ironclad repair.
Well, yeah. Maybe the
Cradle.
Oh, yeah,
see,
that's a good name.
That's what see. Anvil would call their detachable hangar the Scarab. Drake would call theirs the Cradle. That's how.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm saying.
And then we can call Drake Cradle Snatchers. It works on so many levels.
Yeah. I mean, this has been discussed, though. I know it's been discussed on the Inforunner show. The Ironclad it has some weird similarities to the Crucible, just in terms of form, or like form. It wouldn't be a stretch to see them make a variant that is a repair variant. Make it to where the top maybe even opens up slightly more or whatever, but having that detachable command module would then be a huge thing for a ship like that. You would want a ship like that, especially if you've got a ship being repaired in there, but let's say you need to make a quick run or something and you don't want to carry that big monstrosity around, or the ship you're repairing, or maybe you're leaving that out in the, near the front lines or something. I don't know. It would make a lot of sense for...
can I tell you where my brain's at?
A repair ship.
I've just been sitting here thinking, so you rip the roof off, you rip the front door off completely, and you rip the floor off, and it literally looks like a giant vulture.
Yeah.
And it just parks around the ships and fixes them.
Kind of like the rear of the Argo Capital ship we were working on, where it's just sort of,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I got the idea from. I started thinking of the Vulture and the one you and I did, and then this, and I went, well, what would Drake be? Again, it's no frills. You don't need a door to go over the top of the ship.
Yeah.
You just need to be able to repair the ship, right? So they don't need a landing pad. They just need to be able to park around the ship. And again, because it's under the Crucible, you don't really need it to repair the biggest ships. You probably need to get up to like what, medium ships.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I'd like to see Drake actually take the lead here when it comes to capital ship repair. I would like them to do the largest to kind of give them a bigger ship.
I think you'd have a lot of Crucible owners very pissed off. But either way, it really doesn't matter. I think technically the Crucible, I'd have to go check. I don't think it's got any capital. Oh, let me go check. If it's got a capital component, that rules it out.
Think it has capital components yet. But here's the thing. We're more than certain that the Crucible has to grow because it was built around the old Hornets, which aren't even a thing anymore.
That's it.
So, but here's the thing. Going back to this discussion about the command module, the phrasing that CIG is using, and this is not the first time they've done this with the command module. They did it on the last PU monthly report as well. The phrasing that they are using to me strongly hints that we are going to see other Drake ships use the command module tech. I mean, obviously it makes sense. We've talked about this before. It's a new feature. CIG is going to want to use it, but specifically with Drake, it makes sense.
So just looking at the Crucible real quick, it is all size 3 components. So technically it would be classified as a large, not a capital currently.
And it's 90 meters long, I think, in concept currently.
Yeah. So. But it just won't work for what they're doing.
No.
And it's got to grow. But yeah, again, I'd almost bump this up to be the capital and have less features, not more. Because again, this literally can repair an Idris. So why would you have any need to go up to the capital version over this? That's my problem, Art. It's a cross between you'd have to take promised gameplay features away, or keep it where it is and it doesn't work properly. Yeah. So the only real fix is to go up, not down. Leave it where it is.
But my reverse argument is this: look at how many cargo ships we have from different manufacturers that are all about the same area. So
the Crucible's been sold. Yeah. The Crucible's been sold, and this fictional ship at this point has never been sold. So that's the other part of it. You see, once it's been sold, it's harder to move it.
And I know, I think. Hey, Ender, hope you're doing well, buddy. I see Plague Dealer talking, or is it Plague Builder? Yeah, Plague Builder talking about a base builder. But the other specific ship I could see is a Drake crafting ship, which to me makes a lot of sense with the command module tech specifically, because you could go land that ship down in an area where you're currently building a base and maybe you want to craft stuff for the base. You can land it down there, leave the crafting part of the ship, and still use the command module as a runabout. The one interesting thing, though, I think is
do you mean crafter or like a base builder? Just to clarify.
More crafter fabricator, less base builder, more crafter fabricator.
So you're talking something bigger than the Clipper then? So it goes to like the medium crafter, right? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Something that's or even fabricator.
Size?
Or even fabricator. Imagine taking just the fabrication hangar in the Pioneer and just having a ship built around that. No base building drones, nothing else, just the fabrication element of it.
So like it builds ships kind of like what the Crucible's probably going to do.
Yeah, but like there's a limit to the size. So maybe it only builds extra small ships and vehicles. Okay. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Okay. So it can't build like an Idris like the Crucible potentially.
But here's the other interesting thing though. And this is why this could all be for nothing. Is that, again, I think it's interesting CIG keeps referring to the command module as its own thing. I sort of think they're saying that too because that's going to affect the Caterpillar. But the other reason I'm a little interested to see where CIG takes this is John Crew, back when the Ironclad was originally originally revealed, made it a point to say that they don't look at the command module as like a ship you're like flying about as a runabout. It's a last resort kind of thing. They didn't call it an escape module. It's not an escape module, but they also tried to really press that it's not like a ship you just go fly around the verse. So I don't really know where CIG is targeting the command module to be in terms of its usage. Maybe that's changed. I mean, I think you'd agree now when you're talking about a command module growing to the point where it can carry, 6 other people in jump seats. It's grown in size. You start to wonder now. It's like, oh my God, this thing's now bigger than a cutter. This thing's becoming quite a ship in and of its own right. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yep.
So I've had this question asked like 6 times now. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask it now. Do we think that the command module is going to be sold separately? Like, is CIG just going to sell the command module? Now, it'll sell the command module with the Ironclad and that, but do you think they'll sell extras separately?
I think it really comes down to what I was saying about the jump drive. If they don't have it with a jump drive that it is technically officially a snub, which is what it's always kind of been up until this point. Yeah. But that new engine in the back there, if they decide to add that jump drive as a part of its component and allow it to go through wormholes on its own, up until this point it hasn't been able to do that. But there's a lot of money to leave there on the table because a lot of people would pick it up as just this cool little runabout. Again, if especially if it's like the Caterpillar version and it fits 4 people in it and it's got all the life support and all those little amenities, that's a really cool little runabout.
Yeah. Real quick, everyone, I'm just going to interject here. If you're just joining us, do not forget we have started a Drake Ironclad giveaway tonight. Runs 2 through DefenseCon. We'll be giving this bad boy away at DefenseCon. If you want to enter, all you got to do is go to the Gleam link pinned to the top of chat, both on YouTube and Twitch, or you can scan that beautiful QR code right there and enter. And then don't forget.
How do you enter to win the Ironclad? The Ironclad. What is the Ironclad?
Yeah, hey, look, I put a line in between D and I, damn it. It's
the Denaro Ironclad. It's a big fan of Denaro, everyone.
The Ironclad is exclusive to STARJUMP. But do not forget, there's the free way to enter through Gleam. But also remember, every time you watch the stream for 30 minutes or more, you gain an extra ticket. Okay? So by just being here and watching, you're getting entries that the other people will not be able to get. So there you go. Ironclad, we will be giving that away during Invictus or DefenseCon, I should say. It's not the only big ship we'll be giving away. More to come on that. Could we be giving away 2 Ironclads? Maybe. We have to wait and see. Could it be an Ironclad Assault coming next? I don't know. You're going to have to wait and see. I'm terrible at that.
He knows. He knows. He already knows. He already knows.
Make sure you get in on that. And then, yeah. So, but yeah, going back to this real quick, I'm really excited by what I'm seeing here. Sometimes with these sneak peek things, and again, everyone, thank you for the follows. Thank you for subscriptions. I do greatly appreciate it. I'll call out some more names here in a moment. But usually with these sneak peeks in the PU Monthly Report, which aren't really sneak peeks, they still kind of keep things a little vague in terms of what they're showing. I really do appreciate CIG giving us an image here of the interior of the Ironclad and not hiding anything, showing us what it looks like, what that vibe is on the interior. And I really couldn't be more excited. I do want to move on to the next image, and I'm sure we'll come back to this. Yeah, go ahead.
Before we do, there's some text I want to talk about that was in the monthly report. I want to talk about something that I think that hints to another alien ship coming. Can you read me the line, or I'll find it? Give me a second. Yep. It says, 2 seconds, right? Raelian. So elsewhere, the Katak Raelian progressed through white box phase towards its gate review in February. Mm-hmm. Now, I using my deductive Sherlock Holmes-esseness, if you have a Sulian, which is the smallest of a ship, and then you jump straight to a large, does that sound like something they've been doing of late, or do you think that there is a mystery medium ship in there somewhere?
That's Gatak? Or Gatak?
Yeah, because again, they're talking about they're working on up to 5 unannounced ships. I think one of those has got to be a medium Gatak.
It would make sense to me. I mean, I've I think me and you've talked about this some. Hey, Amaze You. Yes, everybody, if you're looking for a good org, there's a lot of good ones out there. I know Art's in a really great one, but if you're looking for a good org, definitely check out Enemy Contact. I see some shout outs there in chat. They are really awesome people. Check them out.
Give me a link. I'll go out and hang out with you and them sometime. I love to go around and hang out with different orgs. It's
yeah, they're really great. They power drived me through this event that's going on in like a day. It was crazy. So I'm doing them an Enemy Contact ship for Fleet Viewer as a thank you. But
yeah, well, if any of you guys are on the Infrunners Discord, just shoot me a link and I'll add your Discord. Thank you.
There you go. But the actually, I was in the Enemy Contact Discord the other night, and Radar Ranger was in there, and he brought over Sylvan, and we had a really cool VR discussion with Sylvan. It was awesome. Sylvan's a great dude. So, I mean, it would make sense that there's another Gattac ship coming. If anything, I think the Raylan's grown a bit. I mean, we know it got a bigger cargo capacity in some of the recent revisions, but honestly, I think the Raylan's probably grown a bit. If I had to guess, I think it's going to land, I guess you'd call this large. I think it's going to kind of end up being like, well, it's got the weird dimension, so I can't say a length, but I think it's going to be easily 15% bigger than what it was originally concepted at.
So being in its white box phase, when do you think it's coming out?
Hey, SC Haulers, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Like your videos. When do I think it's coming out? Well, because there's not a big kit for Gattac, I do think this ship could be like a little ways away. It could be a Sitcon ship. I would, I'd really doubt Alien Week with it.
And that's what I think where the medium ship's coming.
Yeah.
I think everyone's like, oh yeah, Raelians, because we've all been saying, oh, obviously the Raelians got to come at Alien Week. We've all been saying that. So how do they kind of stuff with this? They bring out the medium ship at Alien Week and then send this one out to another time. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, here's the thing. I am usually not excited about alien ships at all. They really don't do anything for me. I think CIG designs them beautifully, but in my head, and I know Ender in chat will know this better than anyone probably, there's a side of me that's always in the RP mode, and my character likes Drake ships, you know what I mean? And like the human-made ships. So, but I have to say, the Raylan is hard to ignore, and I hear that from everyone. It's the one alien ship that's in my hangar. It's the one alien ship I hear other people say, that's the only alien ship I'm going to buy. I think this is a ship that when CIG releases it, it's going to be really popular. So I think it's a Sitcon ship.
I was going to say, it's the Banner Merchantman that I hear that about all the time. But
well, okay, you're right. You're sorry.
The Raelian would be the second most, but for sure. And I've got a bunch of CCUs to this, and I am really intrigued, especially with how the loading mechanism is going to work. We had some really cool speculation on that as well.
And here's the thing, real quick. Don Mega in chat on YouTube says the copium dependency is palpable. Here's the thing, Don, you're not wrong. Any other time, I would say that is nowhere near realistic. But we also live in a world where the galaxy is going to be done in what's about 11 months. A modular ship that's 120 meters long. So I am a little bit in like copium loopy land because I don't really feel like I have a good understanding of where, how long these ships take anymore. Obviously, there's been all those changes internally, but so it's hard to know now. It's hard to know.
Well, it's the same thing. You got white box, grey box, Lot 0 phase, and then it kind of releases. So, the Raelian sounds further behind than where I thought it would be by now. It kind of entered production.
Yeah. But no, I think a medium alien sounds realistic. Sounds realistic. Sounds like
I don't want to go any further because we'll be here for a while. But obviously, you would hope it's probably a little bit of a different role. You know, being industrial, I don't want just another cargo ship because let's be honest, the Saulian and the Raelian are basically cargo ships. I'm kind of sadly just expecting some kind of medium cargo ship from these guys. But we'll have to wait and see. With a little bit of a combat skew because they all have a little bit of a combat skew. You know, the blockade runner in the Raelian and the Saulian's a little bit like that. So. I envision something a little similar from Gattac, so some kind of medium, not as much cargo as how do I put it? It'd almost be like the Spirit, but slower with guns. Does that kind of
make sense?
land about right for you? Yeah,
Yep.
so about 64 SCU, and then it's just got more guns, but it goes slower than the Spirit.
All right, let's get to something kind of exciting now. Obviously, this was the thumbnail for the show. CIG posted this image here in relation to the Kraken. Very obviously, the Kraken, for those not aware. And what is the significance of this image? Because there is some significant stuff with this. And again, it reinforces this discussion we've been having about how things have changed in terms of ship development internally at CIG. They just confirmed to us, CIG just confirmed to us. Let me go back to this chart real quick here. They just confirmed to us that the Drake Kraken is having its white box, now I said white box gate review in February, like mid-February, okay? If you go back and watch old Star Citizen, Around the Verses and stuff like that, when they show white box ships, they are really rough, okay? Like practically like Lego blocks. Then as ship development matured, and I very distinctly remember this, around the time the Zeus was in development, they showed the Zeus in white box and engine, and it was no textures. It was just gray. It was there was still a lot of unrefined geometry on it, all that stuff, but it was at least shown in engine, but still simpler than the model we had. No palm decals on it, no decals whatsoever, but no fine detail whatsoever. This is now the white box gate review Kraken, and you may look at that and you go, is that just like an updated area of the ship, or is that like the old cinematic model we're seeing with like just some changes to it? I can confirm to you that I brought up the actual cinematic Kraken model, which is the one we've had forever, which is the one that's in Fleet Viewer. And pretty much everything has changed. When I first looked at this, I thought it was just this like antenna greeble. And I was like, oh, wow, they really made some changes to that. No, it's the entire back part of here. Pieces are different. Large scale pieces are different. This little weird hood element over here is not in the other model whatsoever, and that's a pretty substantial piece. The size of these little these elements of greeble here, these gantries, that's all changed. I'm going to bring up the Kraken here in a minute in 3D so you can see that.
Almost like this is a real ship, and the other one was just a kit bash thing from the Caterpillar. Yeah,
exactly. Well, and where I'm going with this.
How much have you and I been tracking this over like the like since it kind of came out? Like it's changed like 7 or 8 times. And I'm like, Grip, look,
they made a change. They made a change. Well, and here's the importance of this. Here's the importance of this. This could give us a hint at something. Okay, and now I want everyone to take a big spoonful of copium. Okay, take a big spoonful of copium. What I'm about to say.
Wait, yours is in liquid form. Mine's in gas form.
Yeah, well, you can do it in gas form. It's totally fine. You can freebase it.
Huff it.
You can totally freebase it. So here's my speculation. Hear me out. This exterior is very detailed for a white box. Okay, it's got palm decaling on it. The palm decaling you can see throughout here. They've even put some decals on it. Not all of them, but some of them, obviously.
Well, the Kraken Octopus is not in that screen, is it?
It's not in this screen. That's true.
Yeah, so it should roughly be in that screen, though.
It should roughly be right up here, and we're going to talk about that in here in a second. But this is very detailed for white box. Why would CIG do that, and where have they done this before? Well, they did do this one other time where the exterior of a ship was way far along, a good 6-8 months before its release. It was the RSI Polaris. Why did they get the exterior of the Polaris done? Because it was on the show floor at Invictus.
Yep, exactly.
Now, to be clear, I am not saying this is going to be at Invictus. As a matter of fact, I don't think it is. But could they have this ship on the show floor at IAE this year or something like that? Just exterior? It's very possible. To be clear, I think the Kraken is a 2027 ship. Let me go ahead and lay that out there before people accuse me of huffing too much copium. I think it's a 2027 ship. However, The exterior of this being so far along leads me to believe that we're going to get the Kraken either A, flying through the verse like they did with the Polaris. Remember when it flew through Invictus, it would like fly through space, or on the show floor somewhere. If you remember, back at CitizenCon a long time ago, I think it was 2018, when they did the gameplay demo on stage, the Kraken was, now this was a cinematic model, the Kraken was sitting out on a landing pad in Lorville. Okay, and they took off a Mustang. You saw the Kraken, they flew by it. You can go back and watch the video. How cool would it be if at DefenseCon, I'm just going to go full copium for a minute, how cool would it be if at DefenseCon, out on that pad, they had the Kraken sitting there, but it's the new model? I'm just saying.
I want you to go a little bit further.
Okay.
So is this DefenseCon 2027 release, or is it AIE 2027 release?
I think, and again, some people are going to accuse me of being on drugs. I get it. Right now, based off this exterior,
you show of hands, Pat, we all know.
I know. Right. Based off the exterior,
you just said take a spoonful of copium. You're definitely on something.
Well, anyway. So based off a couple things. One, based off this exterior image, which, to be quite honest with you, shocked me when I saw it. Based on the excitement CIG has behind development, based on their own monthly report write-ups, they seem awfully excited about this ship. And how much of a showstopper this ship is going to be, I honestly believe this is a DefenseCon 2027 ship. I think this is coming next Invictus, next DefenseCon. And if the thinking there is, well, they wouldn't release a ship this monumental during DefenseCon. They released the Idris during Invictus.
Yeah.
They've released big ships during Invictus before.
I think we are seeing a new presidents too. And I was going to talk about that too. You're kind of on the same track as me.
Yeah.
You know, we look at this year. We're also going to have the Ironclad and the Galaxy. That's no longer one big ship a year. That's a big ship every 6 months.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And if you're releasing a Kraken, well, it is a Drake ship. DefenseCon's their big day.
Yeah.
So what else do you? There's a few other big ships out there too. We've still got the Javelin to go.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely other ships that can come. What was the other one that started production? The Liberator, didn't it?
Yeah.
Liberator and the Pioneers in there as well. So there's and the Pioneer got paused, but like, what's to say that they don't switch them around so the Pioneer comes after the Kraken, etc.
Yeah.
And so there are other contenders for AIE next year, is what I'm trying to say.
I agree. And for any of you, because I had someone message me about this week, for any of you Pioneer fans that are like concerned that the Pioneer hasn't had any updates, just remember the Pioneer probably out of any ship out there, with the exception of the Endeavor, has the most prereqs that like things that have to be in the game feature wise before it can even come. We need drones, we need ground extractors, we need crafting machines, which to be fair are coming soon, fabrication hangars. There's a lot the Pioneer needs before it can release. So that's a long and development ship. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up here, and I'm going to see if I can do it in an interesting way. I'm going to bring up Cinema 4D here, but I'm actually going to do a screen crop if I don't break everything. Let me do this. Bear with me. Just so I can highlight some of those differences for you all. Let me back out of this image here, and I will move this to the side. Just a minute, whoops, and I lost it, of course. They don't make this easy. I should have set up a better split screen, but I wanted to illustrate a few areas in which the the Kraken has changed pretty significantly. Again, if you were one of those people that are like, hey, how much of this ship has changed? Well, let's just focus on the antenna section here for a minute. This is the section of the ship we're looking at up here near the front. Obviously, and this is the cinematic model. This is the model that's also in the holo tables during Invictus or Cousin Crows and all that stuff. This is the exact same model. If you watch Trispone's tour of the Kraken that I did with him, this is the model. And what you'll notice here is this antenna has these sort of big panels here that are like, there's no cutouts in them. It's obviously lower detail, of course, but that's how the antenna looked in the newer one. Obviously, they've done a lot of detailing on there. This internal structure here has all sort of, normals going on and palm decaling going on. In addition, if you look at the 3D model, Execute was talking about the Kraken logo. You have these two sort of column pieces up here that have the thin lattice work support structure stuff going on with the Kraken symbol in between. But if you look over in the new one, those that lattice work is a lot thinner. There's the other piece over here. There is some structure in there, but we can't see it. So maybe there is a panel up above out of frame that has the Kraken logo. We don't know. If you look at this hood element here that I pointed out last time that I said was not in the current model, and it's a pretty big piece. It looks like it covers up some of the greebling and geometry here. But this big piece is not present at all in this Kraken, in this model of the Kraken. You see there is no hood piece there. So where am I going with this? And again, those changes are all throughout. If you look at just the contours of this up here, it has changed some of those distances and lengths. Where am I going with all this? I'm going, essentially, I just wanted to illustrate this to show you that what we're looking at in this image from the PU Monthly Report is a new Kraken exterior. We're not seeing the existing hollow model that they're just like dressing up a bit or adding some details. It looks very much like we have an entirely different, like an entirely new Kraken exterior, the production exterior, which of course they're doing because it's a ship that's going into production. But it is a little shocking that they're this far along at white box. That's all I wanted to point out.
It's also the level of detail. So like you pointed out the decals and stuff, right? That's usually something that is more towards the end. But start looking at all the little clips, the little natches, and just the little normal matte details. Like there's like little drill holes. Yeah. Even the grills themselves. Like if you go back to the other model, they're essentially just polygons. I'm noticing those little silver bolts that are attached to those take time to place because yes, you've only got to model one and duplicate it, but like you've got to duplicate it all along the outside there. So they don't tend to do that until they're finalizing things, they're detailing is something that's done towards the end when things are a lot more functional and working.
Well, it makes you wonder again. You think about an exterior, it's like, why go through the trouble, like you said, of putting some of these little decals on there? The only reason I think you would go through through the trouble of that at this stage in the Kraken's production is because you are targeting this to be seen in the verse from an exterior standpoint. You know what I mean? So that's pretty exciting.
Can I play a little bit of, it's not devil's advocate, but I just want to get people to think a little bit outside the box. I sent you an image on Discord.
Yeah. Let me grab it
and see if you knowing Grim the way I do, can you see where I'm going? Can you see where I'm going, Grim? Come on, Grim. You got to be able to see where I'm going here. Come on. See if you're on the same page.
What do we got here?
Are you on the same page?
I think so. All
right. So tell me where you think I'm going with this. Go ahead.
No, I don't.
What is this? What is this? What is it? What is the image?
Well, it's the caterpillar.
It is, but what is it specifically?
It is.
If someone in chat is screaming this right now.
I don't know.
Yeah, there it is. 90's got it. 90's got it in one. This is the pirate edition of the caterpillar. I want that on the Kraken. I want a pirate Kraken skin.
I was thinking somewhere. I was going down a different path here. I was thinking. It had to do with the caterpillar sitting out on the deck here, and I was talking about sitting on the deck.
I think everyone that's in chat that's saying pirate now agrees with me. He's not really a Drake fan. We've found him out. He's just a tourist.
I told you. I don't like the marketing around Drake being pirate. I look at them as the blue collar ship. Damn it.
Yeah. Sure. That's what they all say. Tourist.
Going back, let's swing back here. Let me go back.
But would that not be cool on the Kraken? No, like it would be amazing.
It would be absolutely. Awesome. First off, I'm super excited to see what kind of paint schemes, liveries they come out with the Kraken. It's always interesting when they do big ships because, small ships we always kind of know, you're going to get a couple color variants and stuff. With big ships, it's always interesting to see, like with the Polaris and the Perseus and other ships like that. It's always interesting to see where CIG is going to go with some of the livery choices. I personally hope we get the pirate skin, and I hope maybe there's a cool way to earn it. I hope we get a black and yellow one to match my other ones. It makes me wonder if, when we get those ghoulish green paints, if we'll eventually get one for the Kraken.
All right, open this one. and see if you want to go there. Now do you see if we know where I'm going? When you open this one, see if he's on the same box. See if he's figured it out now.
Yeah.
And people are going to be hanging their head in shame when you show this.
Smallest image ever, but yes.
Wait, I copied the big one. When did it come across?
But they can see. They can see. It's the Hello Kitty. You never know. We might get the Hello Kitty one.
All right, try that one. I sent another one. That's much bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, open the big one. But can you imagine a Star Kitten Kraken? I can.
He sends me the biggest one he can find now. Yeah, I mean, that could be cool. That could be cool. I mean, in my opinion, the Kraken will be on par from a release standpoint, will be on par with ships like the Javelin, the Banu Merchantman, the Pioneer, things like it's those releases that everyone talks about. You don't have to own the ship to be excited about it. It's a big deal. And for those people out there that are like, well, I don't really give a damn about big ships, so it doesn't matter to me. The one counter I would have to that is you should definitely be excited whenever CIG ticks off any big backlog ship. Even if you don't own it, be glad they did it, because it means they're getting through these damn ships, including the big ones that they've sort of avoided for a long time. But yeah, so that's kind of my thinking and theory here with this one. When I first saw this image, it really just slapped me in the face like, oh wow, this is much farther along than because when I looked at it, I knew right away it was a completely new mesh. I just knew right away. And then I brought up the cinematic model to check myself, and it has me very excited, because that means that CIG is putting a focus on this. There's obviously a drive to get this done, because I'll be honest with you, there's part of me that was worried that the Kraken was going to start in production, get a pin put in it at some point, 2 years later go by. But it really seems like they are pushing ahead with this ship in a big way. I think it's a solid estimate right now that the ship could come out for DefenseCon 2027. I honestly don't think it's coming out this year in any way, shape, or form, because if it was, I think CIG would have said it at when John Crew did that. Remember when John Crew said the Galaxy was our big IAE ship this year? If it was going to be the Kraken, I think he would have said that. And the reason is I mean, it would have been it would just been too obvious. First off, if you said the Kraken was coming out this end of this year, people are going to go nuts. They're going to go nuts. So I think it would have been the thing to say. Obviously they didn't. I think there's a reason for that.
I see one more image. Last one, I promise.
Okay.
The reason
actually, this is a great one to bring up. These are is this the Dying Star? These are the Dying Star ones.
Yeah. So the reason I'm bringing these all up is these are some of the most funnest skins in the entire game. And I don't know why, but Drake just seems to have way more fun skins than anybody else.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I'm so excited for the Kraken, because I'm a big skins guy. Like, I'm not going to hide it. Not everyone's into skins, I get that. But they are just really fun. And so I'm hoping that a lot of those really fun skins transfer over to the Kraken. Yeah. I can see one that's heavily graffitied like that. I can see you made one yourself, see? So Grimm's made this big party one.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see a pirate one and all three of them, and the Starkin one. I can see all of those for the Kraken, and then more. Like one with the big shark teeth on it and stuff like that. I can see all those, and I'm really looking forward to it. Like a Grim. Like what you've got here is essentially Grim Hex the Kraken, is it not? With all the broken neon signs and stuff. Yeah. So I can see that as well. Like I could totally see them doing that. In fact, I would make that a privateer skin. Welcome to the shopping mall type look for the privateer. Yeah. I reckon the neon signs will work really well on the privateer. So again, you could have skins that are for one and not for the other, as an example. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff they could do there. I hope CIG gets a little bold and brave with it. I think with the Polaris, they were a little too conservative. I feel like with the Perseus, they did some really cool, interesting things. Obviously, the Idris, I thought they did some interesting things. So with the Kraken, I hope they don't drop the ball on that and do some cool stuff. So the reason I bring this up is, like, I'm not just a Drake guy, right? Like, I kind of like all ships, right? But one thing I will say is, just because of the skins that I collect, for some reason I have more Drake skins than anything else, and it's just because they're so fun. Yeah, they are fun. It just like there's something about Drake, right? Where it's it's just because I think it's how the developers have fun with it, right?
Yeah.
You know, you see some other manufacturers and they take them a little bit too seriously. Drake just lets them let their hair down and they can kind of not give a shit. And I think that's probably where Grays came from about. It's like, well, how can we do Drake again, but even more extreme?
Well,
and that's where Grays
it makes me think, and I go back to the Perseus on this one. And I think the Perseus was a weird choice for this. It actually would have been really a lot better on the Kraken, but I keep thinking about what the executive skin for this is going to be, the Chairman's Club skin, and I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if they went the opposite way, and the executive skin for the Kraken was like all white and gold trim, is like all nice, you know. But what I think would be the coolest thing for them to do would be a custom Crows livery version. Would be really cool.
Hang on, I'm getting an image for you because this is the one I always think of, right? This is the luxury. Hey. Send you a message really quick.
Cool, I'll grab that. By the way, I want to shout out everyone. We got almost 200 in Twitch and 280 in YouTube, and we've had no raids or anything. Thank you very much, everyone. Very nice support. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, so this one here, this I hope is a skin we get for this ship for the Kraken, the downburst.
Well, again, it's concierge, isn't it? Like essentially black with gold trim is concierge for anyone that doesn't really know, right? So when this thing dropped, I went, oh, that's the missing concierge skin that I wanted. So I brought the pack, not knowing that they were going to come out every month, and then I got really annoyed.
Right.
But yeah, it's one of the two that I am.
Yeah, and now I will say, this exterior does not look finished. I don't want anyone to mistake what I'm trying to say here. It actually doesn't look finished. There looks like some secondary texture accents and stuff that could be missing. I see some kind of weird stuff happening here that could be an issue with the UV. So I'm by no means saying it's done. I'm just simply saying that it's an incredible amount of progress for a ship just going through its white box gate review. And the only other ship I remember, just to reiterate, the only other ship I remember CIG doing this where they prioritized the exterior was the Polaris. And we all know why they prioritized that exterior was to show it off. Okay. And the funny thing about the Kraken is I actually thought they were going to deal with the exterior last or later on in production. And the reason I thought that is because there was so much unknown about the interior. I thought they were going to put a lot of their efforts into that. But I will remind everyone, I brought this up on a previous stream. I talked to Gavin one time, and I can't remember my exact words to him, but I specifically asked the question, hey, when you were working up the Kraken, did you go ahead and build out every room to like a concept mesh level? And his reply, I think he said he didn't do every single room, but he did most rooms. Now, if you remember in the concept reveal of the Kraken, they did show us a cross section, but it was just like boxes where they showed the interior flow. But from what I got from Gavin, and again, I'm speculating here, he didn't say these exact words, but what I got from him was that he actually had fleshed out a lot of rooms. So again, I think there was a lot to figure out there.
I'll give an example. In the Perseus video, they had multiple cross-section images in that thing, and they completely crossed over each other. As in, one had an elevator, another had a ramp, and stuff like that. So that one that they showed us could have just been a much older one from a more, they never did a more modern cross-section one.
Yeah, very, very true.
I did send you another image just for discussion, right?
Yeah.
And this is just, again, I'm doing thought exercises. Sorry.
Yeah, the hinterland paint.
We've seen this paint that he's going to bring up. We've seen that on the Corsair. We've seen it on the Cutter. We've seen it on the Vulture. I believe there is,
I think, right?
A Clipper-esque one.
It may not be called hinterland, but there is a Clipper paint. Aspis GQ says Aspis. Yeah, I think that's it.
And everything we're doing here, by the way, you can take and do it to the Ironclad and Ironclad Assault.
Yeah.
So I just want you to point. I'm just trying to point those out. So, and the reason I picked this one, this is not one that I like, but it's just noticing themes within Drake, and that's what I'm trying to pull out for you, so you guys can start to think of, wonder what skin I'd like, or would I even like a skin? That's what I'm trying to do there.
Yeah, I agree.
But this is their more industry look, isn't it? This really kind of came in with the Vulture, that yellow look.
Yeah. I really like it. I mean, I hope they bring that to the Kraken. I don't see why they wouldn't. I've never liked that the Ironclad Assault was the yellow and black paint and not the base Ironclad, but I think they'll have some cross pollination there. The big question is, will they share paints? I think they will, because they technically are variants.
They will.
They will
because of the Dauntless paint.
Oh, that's true. The Dauntless paint, which is the concept paint, is the same on both. That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, can you technically take the skin? That's the real question. Can you take the assault skin and put it on the Ironclad? But what you're really hinting at, just to clarify what Grim's saying there, is the Ironclad is more of the industrial ship, so it should have been the yellow one, where the assault is more of a combat ship, so it would have been better off to be the red one.
Yeah.
He is entirely correct. But this is, again, CIG not following their own law, and the rules are made up and they just don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is becoming, sorry, I'm on this annoying thing at the moment where I've just realized everything they're talking about is kind of bullshit. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too both ways, and they can't. I'm getting sick of it.
Well,
they need to start putting rules in. You know, they said there were rules. They said the law was really important. Then make it important.
I think they did it just to piss you off.
Well, that's a given. Because
I think they care about the lore. I think with the Hermes, they said, you know what? Let's mess with Execute. He thinks he's so damn sure of himself.
Two of them essentially didn't say it emphatically, but they heavily implied that the Clipper was not a Drake ship. And I walked around for a year with Agrid going, oh, yeah, it's most likely not Drake.
Yeah.
Right? And then it took us until it came out. I was still going, but why did they tell us that? And then I've just realized they were trolling us the whole time.
Yeah.
So if they control me and Agrid, why wouldn't they troll everyone else?
Yeah.
Of course they would.
Yeah, sure.
You know, so just be aware of that now. You know, that they might say something that completely leads you down the garden path.
Yeah.
I'll have to wait and see.
Real quick, though, I'm going to do one of my impromptu 1-2 polls, though, without actually having to do the poll. I'm going to throw it out to chat. If you like what you're seeing here in this one image of the Kraken, if this excites you, do 1. If you don't like it, press 2. And if you don't give a rat's ass, do 3. Let's see where the numbers fall. As a longtime Kraken fan, I am extremely excited, probably more excited than I've ever been about this ship. Again, I had the USS Flag G.I. Joe aircraft carrier when I was growing up, and this tickles that itch. So I'm very excited. Here's the thing. The one thing about the Kraken that excites me too is it's the one capital ship, and this is for those of you that don't own the ship. It's the one capital ship that I actually see people in the future doing really cool emergent gameplay things with. So for example, when we're able to like make our own stores and maglock merchandise down and stuff, I totally see people setting up their own floating shopping malls, even when the Pioneer's nowhere near out. They'll just take a Kraken, do that, and you'll be able to come, land on the deck, go in, buy. I don't know. I see people doing things with the Kraken that you won't see done on other ships. So I think that is pretty badass, really exciting. And, you know, if you are in the market for a Kraken, I know there's a lot of creators out there that will make sure to tell you to not spend any money on the game. And I have said that before too. But if you're one of those people that is in the market for a Kraken, a Javelin, anything like that, I would go ahead and tell you this. If you're thinking about it, if that's something you were going to do, for the Javelin, it's very possible that Invictus is the last time you'll get it at the current concept price. If they don't release it during Invictus, which is still possible. With the Kraken, you've probably only got this year left to get it for the concept price, which I know chat is very expensive. I get it, but I'm just saying it's going to go up even more. So if it was a ship you were interested in, we're kind of getting to that 1 year runway left to get it for the cheaper price. I mean, would you agree with that, Execute?
Yeah. You're making me think of something else, though, too, is the Privateer. Are we going to get the Privateer on release, or does that mean we're getting shops in the next, 12 months as well? Or does
no,
that mean
they actually, what was it? In the previous monthly report, they specifically stated it wasn't in production.
Yeah.
Excellent.
They said it would be later.
Yeah.
I must have missed that. Thank you.
But they did say, I forget their exact terminology, but they did say that obviously a lot of this Kraken work is going to help. Essentially what they say is all this work is going to help the privateer when it goes into production. So real quick, I do want to shout a few people out. Thank you for all the subscribes on YouTube, by the way, everyone. I am trying to get the YouTube subscriber numbers up. We're doing really good, but it has plateaued a little bit. That's probably because I don't do enough maintenance and ads and all that stuff. But make sure you hit subscribe
Welcome
over
to the
there.
club, mate.
I know.
We've been
Yeah,
since we got to 16K as well. We've been like, it's the slowest scroll on earth.
Brutal.
Yeah.
But for everyone on Twitch, though, I do appreciate it as well. Thank you for the follows. There's too many names to list out. I mean, there's an absolute ton, but I do appreciate you all. Appreciate the subscriptions and all that. Thank you for that support. It goes a long way. Won't be too damn long, and we'll be crossing 8,000 subscribers. But looks like we got a poll here. Let's go ahead and end the poll in 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This poll's on Twitch, by the way. We didn't do one on YouTube. But again, overwhelmingly, a lot of people excited. Saw a lot of people hit 1 as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a big ship. It's one to get excited for. And there's a lot of ships on the way that have people excited. We got the Ironclads coming. We have the Javelin that could come anytime, really. We don't know. Maybe it's when Squadron releases. We don't know, but it's on deck at least. We know
that kind of sounds
Galaxy,
like a really good.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to release like Squadron, wouldn't it be really kind of cool to release the Javelin with Squadron for those of us that are kind of waiting? Like, kind of sounds kind of a little bit of a lineup to me. I could be wrong, but it sounds good to me.
I think they could release the Javelin early if they wanted to, but I agree with you. It's a little bit more celebratory and makes it into a bigger deal to release it with Squadron. I sincerely hope, though, when they release it with the new exterior and update the Idris's exterior. Those ships do need it kind of bad. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Okay. We've talked about the Ironclad. We've talked about the Kraken. We've talked about the PU monthly report. I do want to swing over real quick and talk about, let me go back to it. Let's talk about the tech talk here with Benoit. That was today on Star Citizen Live. They had Benoit Beausejour on. He talked about core tech and all that kind of stuff, and just a bunch of other stuff too. A lot of it was a long show. You could have cut out some of the fluff and it would have been a much shorter show, but I do think a lot of the stuff Benoit said was really good.
That's pretty rude. I can't believe you called Jared fluff.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
But that's exactly what you just said.
Where I was going was, I think I had to go 20 minutes in. Well, I think I had to go 20 minutes in before I got to any good stuff. So it is a good long 2-hour episode, but you can't. I think someone will make chapter points in there where you can hit the information quicker if you want. But what I will say is there was a lot of good information that came out. A lot of it we have heard many, many times before, such as things like, just stuff about like the transit refactor and all that kind of stuff. But there were some really great tidbits dropped, and obviously Art, Execute, feel free to chime in whenever you want. But
I just want to say something real quick that, Execute just really just needs Jared's little smolder look into the camera.
They did, yeah.
To make him feel complete for the week.
Yeah. I think you should do that.
I am impressed that he's starting to really take on his role, and what I mean by that is that of the Silver Fox. He is really maturing.
I just think Execute should start every Info Runner stream with a close up where he just stares at the camera for like 30 uncomfortable seconds. Real quick,
I might do that tomorrow just for you, Grim.
This
was requested by Grim, and I was going like full screen for like a full 30 seconds, and I'll just like lick my lips and stuff, and just for you. Grim.
Brian Matt Gamer does say it would be hilarious if they released the Pioneer or Javelin before the Orion. I definitely think that's happening. I think the Orion's I'm really starting to think the Orion might be a post 1.0 ship, to be honest with you. So they talked about the transport refactor, and they kind of went into depth about that. I can say, as someone who just did a lot of delivery missions for the Lifeline for Levski event, I'm glad this is a priority. The transport system, which includes people, but also elevators and cargo elevators, it definitely needs the rework from the ground up. So exciting to hear that is coming. They did talk about item recovery V1 and long-term persistence.
Sorry, can you?
Yeah,
what was that ship? Sorry, I was practicing my smoldering face. What was the ship that you said?
The Orion.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
The Orion. Yeah,
Wait,
I think
that's coming?
No, I was just saying the Orion. I think is a post 1.0 ship.
Oh, yeah, agreed. Sorry, I thought you said Ben when I said it was coming. So I really need to listen.
No, it's okay. You ignore me. It's okay. I get it.
So what we're saying,
that I was. I'm practicing my smoldering face for tomorrow now.
I'm okay.
That's what I'm saying. Is that the smolder is so intense, he blocks out all other things.
I
had to.
Blocks it out. It's okay.
I can't wait to tune in tomorrow. I'm going to be ready for it.
Yeah. Here's something that got me really excited though, that they talked about here, and I don't remember every detail from this thing, but one of the things they talked about was the Rock Cracker event. I guess that's coming in 4.7. If you remember, they showed
they talked about it, and they're looking for it to be in March.
It's still
4.6, I believe.
Is that still the port? Okay, that'd still be the 4.6 cycle. Okay, cool. Well, either way, they showed that at CitizenCon. Many of you will remember there was a panel about the Rock Cracker event. It looked really cool because the set pieces look pretty epic and large. And there's going to be multiple components around it and stuff. Oh, Rage 1 just gifted out 5 community subs because Rage 1 is a legend. Rage, let me pop up the old, you know what's coming, double salute action there. Thank you very much, Rage. We appreciate you, buddy. Everyone give Rage an 07.
It's a double eyebrow salute. Look at that thing. Now look at the eyebrows on that thing.
Hey.
Two caterpillars crawled up and landed on your forehead.
Hey, the eyebrows are part of my charm, damn it. Okay. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
It is 4.7. I've been corrected.
Yeah. He's never been so grouchy, has he? Look at him. He's like,
you should see the emotes coming. That's all I'll say. But I'm really excited for that event. It's got a heavy industrial focus and some combat elements, but I don't love, and I hopefully they're implementing in a smart way. But it's a heavy industrial focused event. Sounds like it's coming very soon. They mentioned March. Obviously, that could possibly slip or something. But the interesting thing about that, if it's coming at March, it means pre-Invictus, which is cool. That's very soon. So I was really excited to hear that. They also talked about crafting and the new inventory system possibly coming in 4.7. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they said 4.7 for that, which is really exciting.
They're going to try.
They're going to try. The inventory system to me has now become the new star map in that we desperately, desperately need it. Playing through this Lifeline for Levski event again, once again, it's just every day I was slapped in the face with how bad the inventory is.
So one of the reasons why the inventory is a bit bad at the moment, though, and this happens with a lot of things, is when they're broken, it means they're working on them in the background, and it has been noticeably more broken in the last month.
Yeah. I
just want to point out one thing in your timeline here that you missed. It was around the 52-minute mark.
You criticizing art? You criticizing Art's list here?
Hold on. Let me crack my knuckles. I'm ready. Let's go.
Go for it.
They confirmed the wipe for 4.7.
Did they?
They didn't confirm they didn't confirm a wipe. They said there will be no wipe.
That's
no
what wipe. When I was listening to it walking around the supermarket, and he confirmed there's a new system coming in, and they said that there will be a wipe for 4.7 because it's a new kind of like record system. I can't remember what he was talking about. Specifically, was talking about how items are stored. It's like a new storage system, and so they have to wipe it because they're not compatible.
Now, I think
that was more on the back end side of things, but it's not actually going to affect players. No. You were practicing on your smolder in the supermarket.
No,
Shouldn't do that.
No, I was not.
According to Pipeline's summary, they say no wipe is planned anytime soon.
Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm going to have to go back and listen to it now. You've made me question myself.
Everyone in chat, this is your opportunity to laugh at Execute. You know you love
shame.
Them. You know you love
Admonish. Admonish.
But they talked about regional servers. They talked about instancing, making good progress. That wasn't surprising because I do think the instanced fleet battles, I suspect that is coming this year. They showed that at CitizenCon as well. I think that's going to be a really, really big thing when it does come in. One gameplay feature we know that has got to come before or at the same time that the instanced fleet battles come is the repair, rearm, refuel from ships. Because within the instanced environment, the fighters are going to need to be able to land on the edges to rearm to be able to do their thing in the instance environment. So when we know that that feature's in development, when that feature gets targeted for release on a patch cycle, that should be our sign that instanced fleet battle or tactical fleet ops, whatever they're calling them, is on the horizon. Okay. The other thing they talked about was the social stuff. And very exciting. Obviously, we desperately need it. They talked about the comms app in the mobiGlas, how it's one of the oldest things. It is such a pain in the ass to use. Here's what I will suspect, though, from the social tools. They kind of hinted to this too, but I'm sure everyone in chat can read between the lines on this. The first iteration of social tools is not going to be as in-depth as they showed at CitizenCon. I think we're going to get some of those features, but not all of them. If you remember in the original social tools, they went deep into org stuff. That's the whole thing also, where they had like friend and foe orgs, tagging, all that. They may have some of that, but I don't think we're going to get all of it. I think with the with the social tools, we're going to get sort of the base stuff first, sort of a redo of what we have now, maybe with a few extra features. And then, in subsequent patches, they're going to add on more and more functionality. I think this is one of those situations where CIG needs the framework to bring in more of those future features. So what we're going to get first is the framework, but it's still very exciting because we do really need that.
I do think I remember them saying that they were going to try to keep the same, or that they were keeping the same kind of design layout that they showed off in SitCon.
Yeah.
With the socials.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Just not all the goodies yet.
Hey, Farmer John SC from over at the Enemy Contact Org. Just subscribe a Prime. Farmer John, thank you, buddy. Appreciate your help during the event. They also talked about Nyx and said the word Castra, but essentially focusing on Nyx for a minute. They said kind of, I think, what we all are suspecting, that pretty much every patch, more and more stuff is going to be added to Nyx. It does need it. It's not really a system yet. It's a landing zone in many ways, but more and more stuff coming to Nyx.
It's a skybox in the landing zone.
Yeah, that's accurate. So hearing that more and more stuff is coming to Nyx almost every patch was very exciting to hear. Specifically mentioned that Nyx 1 is still targeting this year. Here's the reason why that is a big deal to everyone and why everyone should keep Nyx 1 in sort of your milestone kind of corner in terms of stuff coming, is that Nyx 1 will be our first Genesis planet. And while all of us content creators are kind of speculating on this, I think we all everyone in the Star Citizen community kind of agrees that Genesis planets are what's going to enable things like resources in the ground, possibly even base building. For example, I could see the first iteration of base building being for Nyx 1 only, maybe even. So, Nyx 1 very well could be, and Genesis could be a big milestone moment, which also makes me wonder if it's more of an end of year SitCon IAE thing. So not a guarantee. I'm speculating wildly on that. But what do you guys think? Do you think that is maybe a good educated guess?
I was re-listening to the Benoit talk, trying to find out if I had anything.
You were just trying to see if we proved you wrong, is what you were concerned about.
I wanted to know what I heard. I thought I was going crazy, so I actually went back to where I listened to it, and I've turned subtitles on to make sure. I can't see it. I must be going insane. I was hearing things.
And by the way, I just want to point out to everyone. Real quick, and I'll let you chat for sure. We are killing it right now. I think we might be leading the Star Citizen over on Twitch viewers right now at over 200. So nice job, everybody. Do appreciate that. And 268 on YouTube, all due to you all. Thank you very much. Don't forget to go to those Gleam links pinned to top of chat.
Why is there a Roblox up the top near following and browse on Twitch at the moment?
Who in the what now?
So if you go up to the top of your Twitch window when you're in Twitch, it says, got the Twitch icon, then it's got following, browse, and it now says Roblox.
Yeah, I don't know.
What?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. That's
What's going
interesting.
on? Did they buy out Roblox so we didn't know?
I don't know. That's really, unless Roblox is just so big that it needs its own subcategory. That's interesting. My daughter would be happy. Let's get to the one other thing I want to talk about. And I'm actually going to bring this up because we're going to sort of watch it for a second. We are going to get to questions here right after this, by the way, everyone. So if you asked a question, we are about to get to that. Let me go to this link. Bear with me for a second. Okay, I'm going to bring over the ISC today, or the SEL, sorry, the SEL. This is the moment when our favorite subject came up. And I thought it was kind of a cute moment. I think it was planned for sure. But I thought it was kind of fun that Benoit was able to ask. He wanted to, flip it up and ask a question of Jared. And the question he chose to ask was this. Let's go ahead and watch a minute.
On one, at least one.
I can see you looking at your laptop like you got notes. All right. What do you?
I have my note question right here.
What do you have for me, Manuel?
So, is the battle cruiser actually happening? Is that thing actually going?
Is the battle cruiser actually happening? Obviously, CIG has hinted multiple times that it's possibly going to be revealed at Invictus for, and be the last concept ship. We talked about this recently on my battle cruiser show, and they do reconfirm that. Jared does reconfirm that. I think it's something that if they're going to do it, they are committed at this point, because for the concept sale, they're going to have artwork created, sale pages created, all that kind of stuff. They do say, that it's really, really cool. It's got some really cool features, and then it's really big. Okay. Again, if you watch my recent show on the battle cruiser, I went through a lot of that, my speculation on what it's going to be or what it possibly could be, overall size, all that. I still think that's probably all correct-ish. I'm still thinking around 700 meters. Go ahead.
How do you feel about the reference on the old manufacturer?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to talk about now. And they brought up that it is an old manufacturer. And that leads me to believe that it's got to be RSI or Aegis. And the funny thing is I was the one out there saying that, I think it's going to be Anvil. And here's the thing. Anvil has been around for a while. I mean, Anvil's not like a brand new manufacturer, but I don't know if it's considered like the old guard, but maybe I'm wrong, because the Hornets are old in terms of just like, not from a lore perspective. I don't know how old they are. Maybe they're really old. But I think when people think of old manufacturers, they think of Aegis and RSI. It still could technically be Anvil. There's nothing preventing that. But what did you guys get from that? Did that lead you to believe anything? I'm still kind of firmly in it's one of those three. It's an old manufacturer. It could still be any one of those three. But what do you all think?
See, that's really difficult because, like, let me give an example. Aegis from our time period is a very old manufacturer, but in lore, it's only 420 years old, but Anvil's like 600.
Okay.
So it really depends on, you know what I mean? Yeah. RSI, well, it's older than both. It's one of the originals. It's 900 years old in lore. But I'm going to tell you right now, if it's not fucking Anvil, people are going to fucking riot.
You're probably
we've been
right.
asking for Anvil for so fucking long, and I think, like, if they haven't heard that message by now, come on, crying out loud. There are no really big Anvil ships, and clearly Anvil needs them because they're meant to be literally pushing Aegis out in lore. And again, if it's not Anvil, it's just going to prove my old point, is the lore's made up and it doesn't matter.
Would you be disappointed if it's one of these Bengal style variants?
Yeah. Wouldn't you? After all the
Yeah,
variants in
I'd
the
be a
last
little
couple of years, like I'd be like, well, so you've basically said you'll never sell the Bengal, but you didn't say you wouldn't sell a Bengal variant. Well, that's just a bit of a dog shit move. But all these promises
To be able
they've
to
made over
craft
the
it,
years,
though, you will be able to craft it. To be fair,
they've broken all their stuff. Like they were never going to sell the F8. They were never going to sell the F7A. The Javelin was the biggest ship you were ever going to be able to purchase, but now you can buy a battle cruiser. So they've just
Das Killer says it's going to be an Origin. So there you go. It's an Origin battle cruiser. I think it could happen.
I would say Kruger before I said Origin because again, luxury combat. Where Origin doesn't really do combat. They have the two outliers in the F7A and the 125A, but they're outliers.
Serious question for you, Execute. On the Origin battlecruiser, how many hot tubs per meters are we looking at?
Well, it depends on how much Old Man Hurston wants. What he wants is what he gets. So you'll have to ask him on that one. I think the real question is how many Uwu girls can you fit in the Origin battlecruiser? That's the real question. Yeah.
Sweet.
It's just like Hugh Hefner in space. It's the Playboy Mansion of space, basically.
I'm just gonna say, by the way, one of the funniest moments. We did the what do you call it? Execute when the show we did the other day. It's the all ships review or something like that.
Oh, the tier list. The tier list.
The tier list.
Yeah.
I will say it was super funny when anytime someone said something slightly negative about a Drake ship, you'd hear me and one or two other people go, yeah. It's one of those manufacturers that even if you insult them, it's a positive for them.
I still can't get over what happened with the Clipper and the Corsair, and then I was getting pushback because normally I get a lot of pushback from the audience because we've got to fit the entire show into a very small bracket.
But you haven't released the show yet, right?
Oh no, it'll probably be out this weekend.
It's coming soon, everybody. Coming soon. I finally got invited to it. To it. I've never invited to it. I finally got invited to it.
No, I invited you last time. You couldn't make it. Don't fucking lie to me, bitch. Right. He's been invited multiple times and he can't turn up because it's really hard to find a time that suits like 7 people across the globe. And Bops didn't make this one, unfortunately. He had a 24-hour live stream. And Algrid had to leave early, Loken had to leave early, and Astropub turned up late. So we all really
respect Execute. So half of us arrive late, and half of us leave early.
That's it. Yep. I only did half of it this year, so I just thought, well, we'll save everyone time and make it easier, so more people can get we can get it done quicker. I'll just do half of it. But what happened was, they then also wanted to talk more than they normally talk. So it just took as long as it normally did, but half as many ships.
Well, let me ask this. We
talked on just the Corsair for 20 minutes.
We did.
It was almost an entire episode of Infrunners on its own. It was crazy.
Let me ask this. Back to the battlecruiser. And not to go down a battlecruiser line too long here. I'm going to keep this short because I do want to get to questions, everyone. But when it comes to the battlecruiser, do we think that the battlecruiser is going to be something truly different, or do we think it's just going to be a big ship with big guns?
Let me put it this way, Graham, and it makes it really obvious. Would you spend $5,000 on a freaking variant of the Bengal?
No, I wouldn't. I actually wouldn't spend $5,000 on a ship that's just a big ship with big guns, meaning like, oh, it's a bigger Javelin with bigger guns. That I would just stick with the Javelin at that point.
I think it's clearly got to have some kind of carrier element to it.
Yeah.
Right. Again, look at this being an RSI variant. Make it more, you probably don't want it carrying all these retaliators, but bring down the carrier element a little bit and then upgun it a little bit more. So somewhere between, almost like an Idris, right? You know how Idris carries a few ships, but less than the Kraken, but it's not as gunny as the Javelin. You essentially want a bigger Idris. Is essentially what I'm thinking and envisioning.
And I would ask the same question of you, Art, as someone who runs with an org that does a lot of fleet ops and stuff like that. What does you or your org? What do you hope from the battlecruiser?
I mean, I hope it's worth the cost. I have to agree with you on that. I want something new. I don't, just putting bigger guns on it. Why I'd like to see, 3 sets of triple barreled, cannons that when you fire the ship actually rocks in space because of the force would be awesome to see. But I need more. I need more. I want something that, is, maybe capital class interdiction. I want to see something maybe EMP based, something that when you see this ship enter the battlefield, you pause for more than just, oh, okay, we got to get behind it and fight this thing. It has to be, you have to completely change your strategy for combat with this thing in the system.
You need the Super Liberator, is what you're saying.
No, shut up.
You need like 3 of them.
You talked about this in your show during the week when you talked about the battlecruiser, the Pegasus.
Yep.
What manufacturer would and I know you've got it in Hanger Link, so please chuck it in.
Yep.
What manufacturer would you see that being? And do you think that that's essentially? I think, we're in agreement with you. I think it's pretty much all been thrown out now.
Yeah.
But I saw this as the most Battlestar Galactica ship in the game.
Yeah.
Because of the way the asymmetric flight, because it's so.
Yeah, it's very asymmetric. The bridge is right here for those who want to know. That's the bridge.
And that's a hanger on the right-hand side there. So the whole hanger hangs off on one side, which is just awesome to me. And that reminded me, it's not exactly the same as Battlestar, because Battlestar's obviously got 2 of them, but it just reminded me a lot of the Battlestar.
I do know it's an RSI ship. It utilizes RSI kit parts, and the engines are RSI and stuff like that. But I do agree with you that this ship is no longer. I don't think it's in the game or anything.
It's too old. Like, you zoom in and it almost looks Drake. Like when you zoomed in before on the bridge and stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of people have pointed out, well, the John Rhys Davies character still has this ship on his patch on his jacket. That's probably just because CIG hasn't updated it. I don't think it's anything more than that.
Or what if this is just an older ship they've retired? So the Pegasus was around 500 years ago from RSI, blah blah blah. Like, totally could be a thing.
Yeah,
just make it a little bit of lore.
Exactly, you could lore it up 1,000 different ways. So I think we won't see this, but okay. I do need to move on to. I'm gonna keep this up for a minute. Let's move on to some questions. Gotta get through these questions.
Get your entries in for the Ironclad.
Yeah, the Ironclad. Y'all can look at that for a minute. Simon Wolf says, question, was the Kraken Captain mug released in January, as you mentioned? Oh, man, Simon's calling me out. If so, where do we order, please? So...
Wait, where? There was mugs? Where?
So I have a Kraken Captain mug that I got from somebody. It's got the Kraken logo on it. Looks really cool. And I said I was going to make my own Kraken Captain mug and have those on the merch store. It doesn't have any CIG IP on it, by the way. I did design them. I have not relaunched the store yet. So no.
There's the grim we all know and love.
Yeah, I failed. I failed on that side.
Yeah,
but
didn't do shit.
But I do have
He's lying his ass off.
Art can back me up on this. Art, I need you to back me up on this. I did talk to you about I need to relaunch the merch store. Did I not?
We have talked about a lot of things recently. We're going to get to.
Join the dark side. We have cookies. Come over here instead.
So what I would say, Simon, is the Kraken Captain mug exists. I need to relaunch the store. The day I relaunch the store, the mug will be on there. It's a cool looking mug too.
You also didn't specify which January.
That's true.
Can we see a picture of this so-called mug?
Since you've done this is going to sound like a line. I don't have it ready.
Lying his ass off. Told you. See, didn't even have a picture. Can't even open up Photoshop and show us a picture.
Here's a promise I make. On the next stream, I will show you. Sandgroper says, do you think the snub command ship, meaning the command module, will come with functional docking or get added later? It'll definitely come with functional docking because that's the entire feature that they're working on, and they keep pointing
on the roadmap.
Yep.
It's on the roadmap too, that feature.
Yeah, I think that's going to be like the kind of the big selling feature, or one of the big selling features of the Ironclad. Simon Wolf says, do you feel confident Kraken owners will get an Ironclad loader?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
they've got it as a Caterpillar right now, so why wouldn't they?
Yeah, and if the Caterpillar wasn't broken in several ways, maybe they just keep it the Caterpillar. But the Caterpillar's got problems. The Ironclad solves all that. Makes total sense. So,
Yeah.
Patrick Guerrero, hopefully I said that right, says, do you think there are so many unannounced ships in the pipeline because a major feature is closed and CIG don't want to spoil it by showing the ships that are coming with it? And I think you're kind of saying so many mystery ships, so many unannounced ships. And I actually think the answer to that is slightly different, Patrick. I think it's simply, I think there's a little bit of that, but I also simply think it's because they've got through a lot of the backlog, and CIG is always coming up with new ships that aren't concept ships anymore. So you know what I mean? So it's like, so personally, I think it's not anything tied to a gameplay feature. It's just new ships, unannounced ships that they're not ready to reveal. And I see C Daddy CIG in chat. C Daddy, I hope you're well, buddy. Yeah. Salute to you.
And he's another troll too. Those CIG people trolling people. Yeah, be careful. They're very sly. Those.
I know C Daddy though is the ultimate Kraken fan like myself, and he was excited to see that Kraken image as well.
Let's ask him, what Kraken skin are you looking forward to? We're showing up some off before.
C Daddy,
so
if you had to choose your own Kraken skin, what would you choose as the colors? Now it could be colors, it could be more like the Dying Star, Dying Light skins. That's all graffiti. But what would you like to see?
What was the other one? Star Kitten was the other one.
Star Kitten.
We threw show off symbol.
Star Kitten. For me, I would say this for my Ironclad or for my Kraken. I really want to see. I know it's going to be so generic, and I usually don't go this path with it, but I actually kind of want the cool black and gold skin for the Kraken. I know it's kind of vanilla, but I hope we get it.
The down. Yeah. The downburst.
The downburst. Oh yeah, downburst for you. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. The downburst does have a little bit of a camo pattern in. I'd take that. I'd definitely take that as the concierge skin.
Well, it'd work for the Kraken as well because you could have the camo like underneath, and then up on the pads it can be just kind of plain black or whatever. You know.
C Daddy says he's a simple man. I'd like black base with white trim and highlights. That'd look nice too, honestly.
That's a little bit like the Dauntless for the Ironclad, what he's just described, in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
so if you change
like the Dauntless
chrome, that would work as well. Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
Because we're kind of bringing it up, C Daddy, and we talked about the Ironclad and the Kraken and what skins they could kind of get. And it was me. I always bring this shit up that people don't give a fuck about. But yeah.
And everyone, if you're watching, don't forget. We got multiple big giveaways leading up to DefenseCon Invictus. Get in on the first one here. Scan the QR code. Go to the Gleam links pinned to the top of YouTube and Twitch chat. Get in on it. Lots of cool ways to enter. All free. Get in on that Ironclad giveaway. Next question. Our good buddy Dillman says, when do you think we'll see a new ship with new gameplay, i.e. bounty hunting, base building, etc.? Most of the current ships under development are filling out existing gameplay loops. I'll tell you mine first. Maybe Art and Execute have a different idea. I think the first ship we could see with new gameplay possibly could be the consolidated Outland Forge, because we know we're getting crafting very, very soon. And the Forge is a crafting ship, right? Am I right on that?
The Forge was paused though.
Was it paused? Okay.
Paused.
Damn it.
Yeah, and I think that's because it's got ties to the Pioneer, and I think that means the Pioneer's paused as well.
Yeah, I have a feature that's an additional feature we don't know about. Okay, what about you guys?
We've got the Clippering game that's got the fabrication on it. You've got the Grey Cat fab coming.
That's
true. So I think it's got to be something along the lines of crafting. And then I know base building is another one they want to get in there as well.
I don't think it's out of bounds to think that we will get again some tier 0 level base building implementation by end of year. You know, maybe it's just small and medium buildings on Nix 1 or whatever, but it's not out of the realm of possibility, is all I'm saying.
You've also got them talking about in the monthly report with the what I call the Vol, which is the mole variant for salvage. I've called it the Vol, which is another small mammal.
This one.
So it's only one letter difference.
Yeah.
And it's in a similar family to the mole family. So that's why I call it the Vol. But Yeah, I think that they talked about in the monthly reports and stuff, expanding out the salvage gameplay.
Mhm.
So I know it's not exactly new, but it is a step up on the salvage that we've seen previously. And you would hope to think that being a new ship and towards the bigger end, like the Reclaimer and it's the only other salvage that we have that has more than one person.
Yeah.
We've now got three ships that only have one people, and then you got 5 in the Kraken and 3 to 4 in this, or somewhere to 3 to 4 in this. That this is going to have, how does the claw work on this? Are they finally going to add the claw gameplay back in and stuff like that? We've got a lot of questions on how does it do the boxes pump out. So me and Bops were talking on his stream last night for about half an hour just on the boxes, because the Vulture pops out 1x1 boxes, as does the other ones, but the Reclaimer can literally print out a 2x2 box. Right. Yep. So do you break the difference and make it so that this can print out 2x1s, or in a weird scenario 1x2s?
Mm-hmm.
So do they? And knowing how the mole saddlebag area is, and then combine it with a raft, does it shoot them out onto a raft like cargo area that hangs underneath the vol?
Yeah.
These are all the type of things we were talking about last night. So I'm really intrigued to see where this ship goes, because knowing what they've done with Argo in the past makes it a very interesting outlier.
Real quick,
and I think
not to interrupt you, let me call one thing out here. Raina Battyfly in chat. Hello, dear. Hope you're doing well. I know Raina Battyfly. Hope you're doing well, sweetheart. I mean, I think I think any of the existing gameplay loops could be filled out more, and then of course the new gameplay loops could come on board. It's unlike last year, which was very content driven. This year we're expected to see some more new feature stuff. Those new features could directly mean new gameplay loops, so time will tell.
Well, there's other ones that are sitting there as well. Like they're playing with scanning at the moment. Anyone that was in the PTU and got into the Hermes when it first came out, when you were looking at cargo boxes, you could literally see their contents, which means they've been working on scanning, because that's a passive scanning feature. So again, like I said, if you see things go wrong or things change, it means they're working on something in the background. If they're doing that, then either they're working on scanning, or scanning is coming sooner than we think. Scanning has ties to bounty hunting, and bounty hunting's been sitting there for almost as long as data running, which is, I think we're coming up on 3 years now, when they first talked about that. And again, data running sitting there as well. So
Mufasa just raided, by the way, everyone. Thank you, Mufasa, for sending your crowd over here. Raina, go get some sleep, honey. Mufasa. Just so everyone was running. Raina's my daughter, so she was watching the stream for a minute there. Go get some sleep, honey. Yes, Mufasa, thank you for the raid. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for bringing your crowd over here. Do appreciate it. Salute to you.
Do you remember the line by Whoopi Goldberg in the movie where she goes, "Oh, gives me chills. Say it again." Mufasa. Yes. Mufasa. That's the what I started thinking of.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to questions here. We got to plug through some of these. Reaper says, question, isn't the Caterpillar getting a rework? I would, at some point it will. I don't think it's going to get one. I think it's going to get a few quality of life things. Good night, Raina. It's going to get a few quality of life things, and I think it's going to get the working command module, but I wouldn't expect any major changes with the Ironclad's release to the Kraken beyond that. I think I wouldn't, with the Caterpillar, I meant. You don't expect any major changes with the Caterpillar when the Ironclad releases, other than that, because I think the Caterpillar needs to be rethought at a more fundamental level, and some bigger changes have to occur.
I actually think the simplest fix for me right now is to change the cargo elevators to ramps.
I agree.
And it fixes a lot of the issues.
I agree. I actually did mess around with the model a little bit, and you can kind of change them to ramps, and it's not too difficult. Draco says, do you think they would make adjustments to the cargo bay height to fit a prospector or vulture? I think you're thinking of the Ironclad cargo area to be able to fit that. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to fit a prospector. I don't think that'll be an issue. I don't think it's too tall either. I do think the vulture is too big, though. I know Trist was able to like shoehorn one in, but I think it's too big.
I think you can fit, the prospector is definitely smaller than the vulture, so therefore you could fit the misfortune in. He means the fortune, guys, but I know what he meant.
Oh, okay.
But,
okay.
You're talking about salvage, yeah? So you were talking about the
Yes.
vulture and the misfortunes of salvage. But okay, maybe I'm wrong. But the prospect is a miner, not a salvager. So
Yes. Yes, exactly. Kind of confusing myself.
Yeah. The number of people that forget about the fortune is astronomical. It is
I
a very
forget about it all
ship.
the time. AMD says, will the Kraken be the largest cap ship when it comes out? Yes, if it comes out before the Javelin. If the Javelin comes out first, Javelin will be and will remain. The Kraken, if the Kraken comes, I can't say the Kraken is the largest landable capital ship, with the Pioneer a little bit behind that, and then the Idris behind that.
I think you'd be surprised for its size how small the Kraken is, though, because you can put 2 reclaimers near the like next to it. Like if you go into Hangar Link, chuck in 2 reclaimers and put a Kraken there, you'll be surprised. Like, considering that's $800 worth of ship versus $1,600.
You can see the difference here. I mean, the Reclaimer's a pretty sizable ship too, but like, it's the Kraken is very long, 270 meters long. And it's kind of a tall ship too, especially when it's landed, but it's not the widest ship. The widest ship, I think, is the Pioneer. Tico Rico says, question, do you think 0G push and pull should come out or will ever come out this year? I'm so surprised that with repair and engineering, they haven't prioritized 0G mobility for outside repair. You know, I sometimes forget 0G push and pull as a feature. It was really exciting when we saw it. We know it's in Squadron 42. When it will come out, I don't know. I'm surprised it hasn't come out already. I can say that. North says, with this year being the release of Squadron 42, does it make sense for SitCon first weekend in October, where it releases on October 5th, a Monday? So essentially saying, if Squadron 42 is releasing this year, does it make sense for it to release in October? I would say no. The only thing, here's why I say that. Despite what CIG has said about marketing campaigns and stuff for Squadron, Rockstar has confirmed that the marketing blitz for GTA is going to start this summer. They're feeling very confident about the November release. I don't think there's like a ton of interference between Star Citizen or Squadron 42 and GTA. I think the bigger issue is just the marketing bullhorn sucks up a lot of oxygen in the room. So I think it makes more sense for Squadron to come out in like summer. But what do you think?
So I've had some updated news since I talked, because I was like you, I didn't think it was going to interfere as much, but I've had words from people internally that they are a bit worried about it. It's a juggernaut in the room to them. So I think it is affecting it.
And I think the issue, here's the thing, it's a juggernaut for everything. Even in the film industry and the television industry, which I work in, it affects that. And it's a video game. It affects everything. And the issue, even if you're one of those people that says, well, this is a PC game and GTA is a console game, at least when it first launches and stuff, that's true. But even just the marketing, advertising disturbances that GTA will cause in the landscape can disrupt attention on your own game that you're trying to market. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a great point, and I agree with you on that. VG says, Ironclad or Ironclad Assault is a placeholder for the Liberator. If one of those is a placeholder for the Liberator, it only makes sense for it to be the Ironclad Assault, in my opinion. The Ironclad and the Liberator are two completely different ships in terms of their role. So, would you guys agree with that?
Agreed.
Yeah. The Liberator is a vehicle mover, and so is the Ironclad Assault. So it makes sense. Jen Tonic says, there's a consolidated Outland ship confirmed for this year. If not the Forge, then what? That is true. John Crew did say there would be a consolidated Outland ship this year. If it's not, it could still be the Forge later this year. If it's not the Forge, though, we don't know. Big mystery.
He did. It was just that last stream when they did confirm a consolidated Outland ship was coming. He is correct, but they also confirmed the Forge had been paused. That doesn't mean the Forge doesn't pick up again and it just delays it by 6 months. He's totally right.
Yeah,
Gin and Tonic, you are not wrong. Also, Gin and Tonic also said, I never played a GTA title, never will. I'm kind of in the same. I've played them, but I'm not interested in them at my age anymore.
GTA 5 was the single player story of GTA 5 was badass. It was awesome. Shout out to my friend Corey, who is a senior guy at Rockstar. I hope it goes well, buddy, this year. If you're watching, I know sometimes they watch. If you guys do launch this year, I hope you get a much needed vacation.
Did they have like walking frames there for the seniors at 2K?
I don't know. My friend works at Rockstar in New York, so I don't know.
Well, poor Corey, man. You're always insulting the poor guy. He's not going to be friends with you for much longer.
I know. We may be on the outs now. But last question for the night before we get out of here, everybody. You've all been amazing. Keep It Secret says, are we going to see a Drake large salvage in mining like reclaimer size? So essentially saying, are we going to see a large Drake salvage or mining ship that is reclaimer size? Well, I'll go ahead and tell you that I was hoping the large salvage ship was going to be Drake. I would love a larger industrial ship from Drake. It looks like it's obviously going to be Argo. I guess I would just say that I think the future is bright for Drake. We're seeing this kit in action with the Ironclad stuff that they posted here. We're seeing that Drake kit in action. Absolutely, we're going to see more Drake ships. It's one of the most popular manufacturers. So don't worry. We're going to see larger salvage ships, larger mining ships from Drake at some point, I would think. Do you guys agree?
I'm hoping that we can actually see a refining ship this year. Yeah. I'd like to see that.
I think it is the missing link. I totally agree with you, Art.
I mean, because you can't. Here's the thing: is the issue we're currently having right now with this event and hangar queues and all that stuff. All that's going to keep exploding on those space stations that have refineries in them, because everybody's going to be there trying to refine stuff. So I think the only solution to that, for when it comes to crafting and everything else, is to give us a refinery ship.
Yeah.
Give us a starter refinery ship. Doesn't have to be amazing. Just give us something.
Yeah. Agreed.
On that note, hang on, let me just finish what I'm typing into Cody, because I think Cody's remembered it wrong. He was saying that Jared had said there's no new ships coming, and he'd mentioned it at AIE, but at AIE is where they also mentioned all the manufacturers coming this year, and in 2026 Sony was on the list. So therefore that rules that out. Getting back to what you're saying about the refinery ship, I don't think it's the Expanse. I don't think it is necessarily the Galaxy either being a large. I think we are probably going to get a medium ship. That seems to make the sense. So it's somewhere between the large and the medium, because they tend to bring a new ship along with the gameplay. If and you do your math, it makes the most sense, because the Galaxy has some issues where it can only refine two different things at the same time, because it's only two large refineries.
Yeah.
Where you go down the Expanse, it's really small amount of quantities, but it has a lot of refineries. So what you want is something that's that middle ground, that's like, say, maybe 4, but they're like mediums, aka the fucking sweet spot. And I think that's what you're going to probably see. I'm not going to sit here and argue with Art on the manufacturer, but I do totally agree with you, Art. I think we definitely need refining, especially with crafting and base building coming, because at the moment, even when you were in the test, you would have seen it yourself, Prim. You literally had to go out and mine the materials or salvage the materials and then take them to a base and wait for the station to refine the materials. And if we're moving to a base building, it's definitely needed for base building.
Definitely.
I think you could probably stop gap it a little bit with stations and crafting, but it's going to be a super quality of life thing to have a ship that can kind of go where you're collecting.
Well, and CIG said as much when they were talking about the cargo capacity on the base building ships. They said that when you go out to build bases, they don't want you to immediately have to go back and resupply on supplies. They wanted you to be able to land, find your spot, get a building or two built. So I imagine they're going to want refining stuff in ships, and who knows, maybe we'll see it. Maybe it's going to end up being the year of refining ships. We might see a couple. We might see a ground vehicle. Who knows what they might do? But I definitely agree with both of you. We need both of those things. Real quick, everybody. It's been an amazing show. We had an incredible turnout. 207. We got up to 210 on Twitch, which is amazing. And 275 at one point on YouTube, which is incredible. I do appreciate you all. Don't forget to get in on that Ironclad giveaway. Don't forget, Every 30-minute block of time that you watch streams from now until the giveaway, you get extra tickets automatically added. Okay. So for those of you that watch the regular streams, you're getting much bigger chance of winning the ship. That's how I wanted it. Do love all y'all. Appreciate y'all coming out, supporting again. We'll have more news on some of the stuff I'm going to be doing for St. Jude's and Invictus pretty soon. Execute. Where can people find you, buddy?
From me on Infronter's just on YouTube and Twitch. But I've got to ask, look how professional he is. He's talking into 2 microphones at the same time.
That's how I do it.
He's like a double professional.
That's how I do it here. I'm surprised more people don't call that out, but I do it specifically because I need the side tone.
I don't know what I don't know what chaos you guys deal with on that info runners, but over here we do it live.
That's right. We do it live and in 2 mics. We do it in 2 mics.
You're stealing my line, man. You're stealing my line. And Jared did that the other day too. He goes, "Oh, we're gonna do it live." I'm like, "Man, is he taking the piss out of me or what?" Like, but no, it's just coincidence.
Here at STARJUMP, we do it in 2 mics. Okay. Big shout out to C Daddy CIG. Thanks for stopping by. We always appreciate CIG people hanging out for a little bit. Ryan Matt Gamer, thank you. All the STARJUMP regulars who came over and hung out, as always, really appreciate it. I do want to shout out Enemy Contact one more time again, killing it for me last weekend on the event. I do appreciate you all. I know several of you are watching. Hope you're having a great night. We're going to raid tonight on the Twitch side of things. We're going to raid someone who I briefly met at Quantum Vegas. Super nice person. Make sure you give her a follow. Make sure you give her some STARJUMP love, all that good stuff. Going to send you over to Granny Q. So make sure you spread the love there. I had a great time, everyone. It was a great chat. It's an exciting time. 2026 is going to be an awesome year. I hope you all have a great rest of your night. Execute Art. Thanks again, everyone. Sending you over there now. Have a great night, everybody.